doom doo doom. What up? What up? What up? I know, nigga. Nah, I'm just gonna get you smart today. Cause you ain't got no sense and you ain't reading a book. I'm gonna get you smart today. I'm gonna get you using your head. Oh, hey, 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 hey. Yeah, we in the world. We in this motherfucker. What up, Juice WRLD? How you doing? What's up to everybody out here that's watching, that's joining? We about to get this shit lit, man. We about to get shit lit, man. We gonna get in some deep shit today, man. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. We gonna get in some deep shit today. We gonna get it. All right, man. Look. If you don't know already, background music, all background music, or 98.9999% of all background music is Lace 434 on YouTube. I got his permission, but go check out my guy, good music producer. You can hear the beats for yourself. You already know what the fuck it is. This is my guy. You know what I mean? My dude don't have me pay him to give out no promotion. I like him because I like him. Free promotion for my guy because he's a hard worker, man. He put out good music, man. He really do. So just peep out Lace 434. Chill this out. Give it a couple minutes because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in some deep shit. So I want to make sure we have as many people in here as possible. And I want you to invite Yeah, we about to get it in. Woo! Woo! We about to get it in today, ladies and gentlemen. Man, look. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not come in this motherfucker today thinking I was going to do a show. But you know what? I saw a couple things today that really fucking irked my last nerve, man. It was, woo, boy. The depths of the Negro mind. The depths of the Negro mind. You know, so if you don't know already, let's really get the fuck into this. All right, let's really understand what the fuck this is. And let's make sure we stay right on topic. Today's conversation is going to be the psychology or the psychopathy of white folks. All right? And the implications and outcomes to all other groups. Okay? Now, I want to make sure everybody knows that any videos that I play, I use those videos in fair use. Okay? I use all videos that I use with fair use. So stop reporting my goddamn videos. I'm a peon in this shit. ultimately, I am a peon in this YouTube game, the Twitch game, Twitter game, Facebook game. I am a peon. Stop reporting my shit. Okay? Everything I do is in fair use. And if you don't like what I gotta say about you, if I happen to be talking about you, life's a bitch. Get the fuck over it. Okay? Get the fuck out of your feelings. Quit acting like a motherfucking child. And see if you can kinda, I don't know, learn or gain something from this. Okay? If I'm going after you, I'm not going after you because I don't like you. I'm going after you because you are wrong. And we can back that up. We can substantially back that up. So I want y'all to understand that I don't do this out of hate, and I don't do this because, I don't like people or anything like that. I do this because we have to understand what we're dealing with. And a lot of you Negroes have fallen victim to this shit. Okay? A lot of you Negroes out here have fallen victim to it. But not just black folks. Let me make this shit very clear. White folks have fell victim to their own fucking mind fucks. Okay? They've fallen victim to their own mind fucks. Now, do I really give two shits? No, not particularly. No, absolutely not. I don't really give two shits that white folks are falling for their own fuckery. But I do have a problem when black folks start falling for white folks' fuckery. I do. I absolutely do. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. You know what I mean? We're going to touch on this. So I want you to keep this all in mind. All right? Now, we're going to start this off by playing a video. Usually, and let me apologize real quick. Usually, I usually start doing some news. That's usually what I do. I might do news afterwards or later because I'm going to get straight into this because I think it's kind of important. I do. I really do. Okay? So, the first thing we're going to watch, and this is going to be the basis of a lot of what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Okay? This is going to be the basis of a lot of what I talk about tonight. And the reason why is because it's important. It's super important. And you'll understand towards the end, I promise. But, when we start wrapping all this together, you'll start understanding. You'll get it. You'll get it. So, I am going to do this. Okay? And for some odd reason, my shit want to start slowing down all of a sudden, like my player's brand new and shit. Come on. All right, there we go. Now we got it. All right. So, we're going to watch an interview. And I am going to stop and go and maybe expand a little bit. But we're going to watch a whole video. And this whole video is on BNC News. It comes from BNC News. This is a portion of BNC News with Mark Lamont Hill. and a doctor, okay? And I don't know I can't say her last name, so I'm just going to spell out her name because you know me, I really don't like to butcher people's names. I really don't. I don't like to butcher people's names because I think it's just kind of rude, right? But her name is Dr. Aruna Kalani. So that's spelled Aruna. Aruna. Kalani is Kilani. And excuse me if I have completely massacred the name. I don't mind. I apologize. All right. Oops. Hold on one second. And I'm going to make sure that y'all understand this. I want y'all to listen to this interview. All right? I want y'all to listen to this interview. All right? It's a super important interview. We're going to listen to it. It's about 14 minutes and 46 seconds long. I'm going to try not to interrupt as much as possible because I want you guys to catch on to the full point. And we will continue from there because after this, we're going to see what comes out of the psychology of folks. Now, so I'm going to let y'all watch this and we're going to fucking start right there. So with that being said, let's start watching this interview. Again, all credit goes to BNC. And Mark Lamont Hill, because this is a BNT exclusive. And I want you to hear this yourself. So without further ado, oops, wrong one. Boop. All right, so without further ado, let us listen to this short little interview.
Exclusive. Last week, we covered how during a virtual talk at the Yale School of Medicine, Dr. Aruna Killanani, who is a forensic psychiatrist and psychoanalyst,
I do not know why my shit is doing this. It's just odd. Let me see something real quick. Boo, boo, boo. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try to get this shit going. Let's try again.
used language that some considered violent and hostile. Take a listen.
I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, burying their body, and wiping my bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless. With a gun like that, like I did the world a favor.
After the speech, the Yale School of Medicine released a statement that said, "We weighed our grave concern about the extreme hostility, imagery of violence, and profanity expressed by the speaker against our commitment to freedom of expression." And they decided to make the talk available only to people who attended it. Joining me now is forensic psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, Dr. Aruna Killanani. Thank you so much for joining me on Black News tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Let's start with April 6th. You gave a virtual talk at Yale.
Yeah.
What was your intention? What was the premise of the talk for you?
So the intention is to actually talk about unconscious negative feelings, because if we're not actually aware of unconscious negative feelings, it's going to turn into a violent action. And people who are actually can access and tolerate negative feelings are mentally healthier. So, of course, I don't want to kill white people. That's completely ludicrous. But I think through my words, white people feel like they're actually getting murdered because my words are troubling. It's going to cause the death of their preferred self image, their image that they've had through colonialism of being good, helping, and teaching. And as a psychoanalyst, I had a goal, which is to access unconscious feelings around race. So
What up, Shatira? How you doing? Thank you for coming in. I meant to call you, but I didn't because I got caught up and then I fell asleep. But I'll talk about that afterwards. I'll hit you up after.
my work is actually about accessing unconscious negative feelings and ideas in the unconscious. So I was normalizing negative feelings, which is also what I do in my practice in psychoanalysis and psychotherapy.
So I'm going to read this again. You said, I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, burying their body and wiping bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless with a bounce in my step, like I did the world an effing favor. That type of feeling, first of all, what creates that type of feeling in a person of color toward white people? And how common do you believe that feeling is?
So the feeling of frustration and rage is actually very common, and I'm talking about it sort of metaphorically about how difficult it is to actually have an honest, direct conversation with somebody on race because what you're coming up against is defenses. That's not happening. You're the problem. You're seeing things, and it's that level of frustration. So I'm talking metaphorically about the level of frustration and I'm not speaking literally, but I am speaking about a feeling of futility about not being able to move further in a conversation.
All right, so I'm going to quickly stop there. I'm not going to stand on this too long, but this is a common idea with black folks. Black folks is we do have these feelings like, man, I could just, kill one of these motherfuckers. We never do, and it is basically out of frustration. But I think all black folk understand this, and they do definitely understand this based upon the answer that she said when she said, whenever you get a reply from these people, when you're telling them, it's always turned around on you, right? And so this feeling of frustration is a true feeling that most black folks have. Now, the thing about it is we're frustrated because we think that they just don't get it. I would argue that they do get it. They're just plain dumb. But I digress on that, and we'll get through that in just a little while, and I'll explain what I mean. Actually, you'll definitely see it, and you'll understand in a minute.
And I think that feeling is very common amongst people of color.
Have you ever expressed that fantasy before in an academic setting or any other formal professional setting?
No, but not around race, but I think around fantasies of killing are actually very common among psychoanalysts. It's like sort of the work that we do. And talking about that kind of stuff in forensic psychiatry is also very common. I think it got flagged because it's around race.
That was my next question. I mean, you're a trained expert. You're trained in psychoanalysis. And when we think about psychoanalysis, I mean, we enter all.
Now, this is the part I want y'all to really, really start paying attention to. Okay? Because we're about to get a diagnosis. And I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to listen to this because I've actually been preaching this for 5-6 years. Easy. Okay? So pay attention to this next part. It's really important.
All kinds of spaces around violence, around sex, around all. I mean, what's in the mind is boundless, right? But something different happened here. Were you shocked that in a context where you're around peers, around other people who sort of know the various precincts of the mind that you can travel to, were you surprised that you got this kind of response?
Are you talking about the aftermath or which part are you talking about right now? Just what happened over the past week?
Actually, That's a great point, right? So I guess the first
Yeah.
question is because most of us only got to hear it. We didn't get to see it because the audio was leaked. Uh, First of
Right.
all, what was the response from the people in the room, and was that different
Great.
than the
It
response
was
from people outside?
so from people in the room, it was all positive. It was something that I had never seen in a grand rounds before, which is all the people of color were speaking up and speaking up first. And something interesting also happened, which is a lot of the white people felt sort of emotionally safe enough to ask vulnerable questions, to put themselves out there, but it was an overwhelmingly positive response.
Wow. So the
Yeah.
controversy comes afterward. And when we're going to take a short break, we're going to come back and I want to talk about the controversy after and why you think that's happening. Everybody stay with me. We'll be back with more of an exclusive B&T interview right after this.
All right, so they're going to get into this really deep, and we're going to talk about exactly what they're talking about, and we're going to show the examples of what this turns into now. All right, so watch this.
Welcome back to Black News Tonight. I'm still here with Dr. Aruna Kilanani as we talk exclusively about her content of her virtual talk, The Psychopathic Problem of the White Mind. Before we talk about the kind of consequences there of your speech, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the things that you said in the speech that I thought were interesting and compelling. You said, this is the cost of talking to white people, the cost of your own life as they suck you dry. There are no good apples out there. White people make my blood boil. When you say there are no good apples out there,
Yeah.
what kind of claim are you making?
I'm talking about people have this idea that racism is something that if you're consciously racist or if you're a Klan member, and I'm sort of making the claim that racism is something that is unconscious and it is actually in everyone, and everyone uses these words systemic. They're like, you know, I know that racism is systemic, and yet individually when you call them out, they'll be like, well, it's not me, you can't say that. And so there's a disconnect between use of the word systemic and saying that racism is everywhere. But the moment you point it out individually, there's sort of people disown their own violence and racism.
Now, this is a very particular point that she's making right here. And it's a very nuanced point that nobody seems to be catching on to except for me and a lot of the people that fuck with me. This is a very nuanced situation right here. Very. And I need y'all to understand this shit. Again, she's saying you have white folks that are out here who understand and claim to know and understand that there is a systemic problem with racism in this country. Understanding that systemic means throughout everything, is pervasive through everything. Yet they refuse to acknowledge the point of their racism that helps the systemic racism continue. It is a denial. You guys hear this shit from me when I'm on live, especially a few years back when I was, really up at the height, right? When I would go after white folks and I used to call them out for their shit, and then the first thing out their mouth was, well, I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. Right? They accept the fact that there's systemic racism, but for some odd reason or some magical idea that, we just happen to be running into all of these people who are not racist, yet all of these people just happen to not be people that can actually do anything to change the systemic racism that we have in this country. And it's not them. It's a denial of the truth. And she's going to go further into this even more.
Would it be fair to say, based on your expertise, that white people are psychopathic?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's many lies that, and I didn't get to that part because what I've delivered was only part of a first series of talks. But the level of lying that white people do that has started since colonialism, we're just used to it. Such as every time every time that you steal a country, you loot, you say you've discovered something. I mean, this level of lie is actually part of history. We don't say that we killed all these people, we got rid of all the Native Americans. We say we discovered America. You don't talk about the level of death. You don't talk about the level of what actually occurred. You wipe the slate clean, you sanitize the violence, and you actually got lost along the way. You're trying to go to India, and then you say you discovered something. And this level of discovery is everywhere. You've discovered vegetarianism. You know, you've discovered yoga. You've discovered everything is a discovery, and it's all actually stolen.
Now, think about that for a minute real quick, you guys. This is a very interesting thing that she's calling out. I've called it out. And a lot of people seem to be missing this. This is a very nuanced thing. Okay? But what she's not talking about is the effect of this psychopathic behavior on Black folks. Right? This is very nuanced. And I need y'all to pay attention to this. And I need you guys to recognize the situation in which we're talking. So, we're talking about, she just made a claim and she said, would you say that white people are psychopathic? And she said, well, yes, I would. Right? Hold on 1 second, you guys. I got to let this dog pass. Hold on. I'm going to let it play and I'm going to come back real quick. Actually, I'm not. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second real quick. Hold on. We got race soldiers driving up and down the street, looking for a picnic today. Will it be you that gets pulled over for a broken down line, and then they blown out your brains, and then here come the coons. Oh, look at the coons. Wow. All right. All right. We back. Okay. So she's really breaking this down, and I'm going to go into the effects of where it comes to Black folks in a minute, but I want you to listen to all this, and it's almost done. I want you to listen to this, and I want y'all to pay attention to how she's breaking this shit down, and we're almost done. All right? Almost done.
So what you're talking about at this point is a kind of macro level, systemic, structural kind of thing. But you're also trained to think about the psyche, which is about the individual at a certain level.
Absolutely.
To what extent can we say that individual white people are psychopathic or unhealthy or out of their minds? I'm using this language for those who are watching. I'm using this language based on what was in the speech and based on other work that's been published. This isn't necessarily my personal opinion. It's the analysis here. Do you think, to what extent can we say that individual white people are this thing versus saying that there's a culture of theft, a culture of colonialism? And is there a useful distinction to be made between the two?
I think people, there is a useful distinction to be made. And on one level, yes, that's absolutely true. And you know, it's different than actual individual psychopathy, the way that people conceive of it. On another level, when we are thinking about individual responsibility and how it is that people change, I think that using the words systemic and there's a culture operate defensively to not actually let yourself go into your own unconscious and go into those dark places of what you're actually doing. So I'm actually talking about it sort of as a defensive structure, like not acknowledging that on an individual level, I think can operate as a defense.
You say that we need to remember that directly talking to white people is a waste of time. It's useless, you say, because they are at the wrong level of conversation. Addressing racism assumes that white people can see and process what we're talking about. If white people are incapable of being engaged on race, and there's a structural dynamic that makes it somewhat impossible, or at least makes racism intractable, then are we in a place of hopelessness around racism? What are we to do?
No, I was talking about a feeling of futility, right? So I'm talking metaphorically about a feeling of futility, and the disconnect that I'm talking about is that white people actually they have a different conscious experience of themselves rather than what they're actually doing. So my entire first series is what is the disconnect between their identity, how they see themselves, and what they're actually doing? What is the disconnect between their actions and how they view themselves? So I'm saying the reason they can't get it at this moment in time, and what the first series is what is white identity? How do they view themselves that is actually very different from their actions? So sort of naming that problem first so that we can actually move forward and talk about race.
All right, now I am going to disagree with the doctor here. In the fact that I don't believe that white people don't get it. I don't believe that. It's been what, 400 years since we've been on this continent, more than that, 500 years, right? Damn near 6, right? So I don't believe that is an accurate statement. I actually believe white people do know exactly what they're doing. They're just playing dumb. And they're playing dumb so well, right, that even our own people are falling for the dumb shit. Okay? And why do I say this? I say this because I want you to look at this real quick. Let's stop that. But then let's present this. I want to present this. Common signs of psychopathy. All right? Since the term psychopath is not an official diagnosis, experts refer to the signs described under ASPD. According to Massand, some are more common signs to be aware of include socially irresponsible behavior. Does that or does that not sound like white people? Check that if you think it does. Disregarding or violating the rights of others. Again, do white folks do this? Inability to distinguish between right and wrong. Oh, do white people do that? Difficulty with showing remorse. Okay. Next sign is tendency to lie often. Next one, manipulating and hurting others. Okay? Next one, recurring problems with the law. And the last, general disregard towards safety and responsibility. These are common signs of psychopathy. All right? And these are also signs of antisocial personality disorder. Now, if we were to combine the group, the white group, and look at their history, combine them into this one entity and look at their history, how many of those signs do white people mark off? Okay? What up, C? How many of those do white people knock off? Now, this is where I think they're wrong, because she said in the video, I think they're psychopaths, but then she kind of walked that back a little bit when it came to the individual. She walked that back a little bit in the ideology and things like that. But I want you to pay attention to something. Watch this. All right? Actually, not this one. I'm going to go to this. No. Wait, is it this one? No. Ha. Signs of a psychopath. This is a revised version of the checklist, includes the following characteristics: glibness or superficial charm, grandiose sense of self-worth. That should be a big one. How many white folks you know do that? Need for stimulation, proneness to boredom, pathologically lying, conning or manipulative, lack of remorse or guilt, shallow affect or reduced emotional response, callousness or lack of empathy, parasitic lifestyle, poor behavioral control, promiscuous sexual behavior, early behavioral problems, lack of realistic long-term goals, impulsivity, irresponsibility, failure to accept responsibilities for one's own actions, many short-term marital relationships, juvenile delinquency, revocation of conditional release, so ROR, and criminal versatility. Now, out of this list, how many of these things do white people check off? And I would argue all but about 4 of them. As a group. Now, I want you to understand something, because I'm going to show you this. Watch this. Okay? So watch this. So the terminology used to describe such people can get a little complicated. People often conflate the term psychopath and sociopath, or use both of them to describe those who flagrantly disregard moral rules. Okay? I want you guys to make sure you understand something. Watch this. These are both generic terms too, and I just want you to understand. Okay, and there's supposed to, this is in, okay, actually it's over here. Boop. And then here it is. Most experts believe psychopaths and sociopaths share similar traits. People like this have poor inner sense of right and wrong. They also can't seem to understand or share other person's feelings. Okay? But there's a difference. They say that a psychopath has no motherfucking conscience. They don't care. Just right off the bat. Okay? A sociopath understands that it's wrong, knows that it's wrong, can put himself in another person's shoe, but his need to actually do it overrides knowing on the inside that it's wrong. You get the difference? So sociopath has a conscience, he just ignores it. A psychopath has no conscience. Okay? Now, you just heard what she said, but also when you read this book, okay? Oops, sorry about that. The Iceman Inheritance, and I have this book, and you guys know I have this book because I've used this book many, many times, and this is written by a white man. I want y'all to understand that this is not something that nobody has recognized, but many people have recognized, no matter if they're white or black. Okay? And I want y'all to understand this. This has been acknowledged by both groups, all groups. Okay? Now, all this is important, man. So I believe that white people are psychopaths. I do not believe white people are sociopaths. I think a lot of people are going out of their way to try to make it out to be kind of like this idea that white people are more so sociopaths than psychopaths. But I think there's a long history of evidence that shows the psychopathic nature, even though we do understand and we do recognize that this is a very generic term. But we have to recognize the traits of white folks throughout history all the way till today. Okay? So I want y'all to understand that shit. Now, let's go back. I'm going to let this finish. Let's let this fucking finish real quick. Whoop, whoop, right there. And we will go to the next video because that's where this shit really starts to matter. Hey, can y'all hear that? Oh, can y'all hear that or no? Because I don't think y'all can hear that. Let me do this again. I apologize. I don't think y'all heard that shit. So let me. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right, that's what I thought. Here we go. Let me see this shit. My stepdad is a sociopath. I think sociopaths are more screwed up than psychopaths. Personally, the psychopath will go to prison and brag about what they did about. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm not going to keep. I'm not going to do the which one is worse game because I think they're both bad. So that's just me. All right, let's finish this off. I apologize for that. You guys should be able to hear it now.
People are mad doesn't mean we did anything wrong, right?
Right.
That we shouldn't infantilize white people. We shouldn't
How they view themselves. So I'm saying the reason they can't get it.
And we do harm with our words. We upset people, and we regret it. And then there are times where we have to say, at least I believe, that just because white people are mad doesn't mean we did anything wrong, right?
Right.
That we shouldn't infantilize white people. We shouldn't censor white people all the time. Which one of these are we dealing with in the case of your lecture at Yale? Is this a situation where you feel like you did some things that you could do differently or that you did harm that was unintended? Or is this a case where white people are upset because they're being named and outed and subjected to scrutiny?
So I think the way that I framed the lecture was I sort of said that what is happening in this space is I'm giving you, since conversation around race is always hard, I'm inviting you into a room where we talk about you. And this is sort of a special invitation to first see how we view you, because that might be very different than your conscious experience of yourself. So it's sort of an invitation into sort of a sacred space to see how it is that white people are actually viewed.
So if you were able to give the speech, or if you give the speech again, would you use the same example? Would you appeal to the same fantasy metaphor, or would you do something different?
Well, you have to keep in mind the audience, right? So the audience that I spoke to are psychiatrists and mental health workers, and I'm talking about psychoanalytic stuff. And if they can't go there into those dark places, then I'm not sure like how we're going to be able to move forward. I do think that if it's a different audience, I probably wouldn't have used those metaphors. And I would cater it to who the audience is and what I feel like they're able to tolerate. But people in our profession are actually used to sitting with very dark feelings. It's our job to metabolize negative feelings. It's our job to make connections between the conscious and the unconscious. That is what we do. In our practices, we teach people how to tolerate those very dark places in their life that they normally can't actually go. And that's actually where we need to go in order to move forward on race. So I'm speaking to a group of highly trained individuals, medical professionals that are trained in doing this kind of thing and understand the importance of going into negative feelings, because if you can't actually tolerate your negative feelings, they're going to come out in actions, and they'll actually harm yourself and you'll harm someone else as well.
So this is getting really deep, and I need y'all to pay attention to all this, because I'm going to have you guys do some mental exercises in just a minute, and I want y'all to like play along and think about this type shit.
So for that audience, I wouldn't change
has been leaked.
Since
this audio was leaked, you have been since this audio was leaked, you've been the target of the right. You've been on every conservative dartboard. What's life been like for you?
It wasn't fun. Definitely wasn't fun. It's been really hard because, like I said, that this talk was for a certain group of people. And imagine that the group of people, like I said, this talk was for people who want to understand and are ready to hear about their own violence. That is how I framed it. Now, and I think of it in the sort of like the same way I think about psychotherapy. People come into psychotherapy and they come into psychoanalysis who are ready. They're ready to actually reflect. They don't want to keep saying the problem is outside of me. It's the world. It's my boyfriend. It's my child. It's this. They know that they need to do the inner work. Now imagine that the talk suddenly got leaked to the very same population of people that aren't ready to do the work and actually don't think that there's a problem. So,
and that is the general public. She's been speaking to professionals who delve into this area of expertise. But yet the people who are in their feelings are the laymen's and the people who want to deny the truth. Right? They want to deny it. They want to have a grandiose feeling of themselves. They want to feel good about what they've done. Right? They want to ignore what they did to other people. They want to bypass it, not take responsibility. This is the psychopathy of the white man, whether people want to admit it or not. I used to say this all the time in my scopes. Way back when I used to stream, I used to say 97% of all white people are racist. You used to say that all the time, 97. And I used to say that, and I used to say it like that so white people would listen. They didn't even like that. And that's not even the truth that I believe, because I believe like 90% of fucking white people are racist. 99.9999999 infinity. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody like John Brown, or, you know what I mean? Every once in a while. That's that point infinity one. And she's already explained it. It's because white folks do not want to accept realities. This is another big reason why white folks do not want critical race theory being taught to their children. This is psychopathy. This is a psychopath giving his son, the next generation, his psychopathic behaviors. You understand? You have one psychopathic father who doesn't see that white people and the disgusting shit that they have done throughout history, want to ignore all of it, move on, and he passes that down to his child. And this is why the system of white supremacy continues to thrive. Because of white folks' psychopathy. It's just that simple. I want y'all to get this shit. All right? I want y'all to understand this, because it's super important. Right? It's mad important. So the next thing I want to show you, let's get into this a little bit. Again, anybody that wants to join into the conversation, you're more than welcome to join into the conversation. All you have to do is download the HAPS app, HAPPS, make a profile, quick little profile, come back into my room, Izzy High, and tell me you're in here and you want to come up and we can have a conversation about that. I keep that door open. And so when we have the discussion, then y'all will definitely be invited up. All right. Now, I need y'all to do a mental experiment with me. Okay? Now, when you go off, right? And again, I want to, again, I don't like to take, like, put all the responsibility on black folks because it's not completely our responsibility at all. But I do need black folks to take responsibility of acquiescing to white folks. Okay? I want you guys to understand how this works. So, we know the history. History is people were already on the land. White people come over here and they start literally killing a whole bunch of native indigenous people, and they brought over some slaves with them. So right off the bat, they come over to this country and they're killing and enslaving. And the first thing they do in order to not have to take responsibility is they change the idea of what they did from colonizing or killing or taking or stealing or thieving, and they call it discovery. And they repeat this word discovery over and 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 over again. So much that you're indoctrinated with this idea that America was discovered by white folks. And then they say, and we built this country to be a superpower. Disregarding the murder, the genocide, the fucking enslavement, the forced labor, the fucking cruelty during all that time, the torturous behavior, the callousness, the psychopathy that comes with that, because you have to be a psychopath in order to fucking go off and literally cut people's hands, arms, and legs off. You have to be fucking a psychopath to whip people's backs so raw that they literally have a different color back. Right? Torturous behavior, like hanging people, beating them, cutting off their genitalia, fucking cutting stomachs open and ripping babies out of them, making shoes and wallets out of people's skin. The purposeful fucking sterilization of black men and black women. Infection of black men and black women, of giving them deadly and communicable diseases. This is psychopathic behavior, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you try to justify this, you are a psychopath. And this is what white folks do as a collective. That is psychopath mind state amongst the masses. And I want black folks to understand that not only are we affected by this, but we also accept this in order to get along, in order to get by, in order to not have to put extra weight on our shoulders in order to just have it a little bit easier. And this is where the idea of the coon comes in. All right? That's when that shit come in. So what we've established so far is the psychopathic behavior of the white group, right? The collective, not the individual, the collective. If you are getting offended by this, white people, you might want to stick around because guess what? You might be the person that I'm talking to. I'm just saying. Right? Now, people can act like, and psychopaths are really good at this. Psychopaths are excellent in acting like they have empathy. You understand what I'm saying? This shit is so important, man. This is so important. And what continues the psychopathic mindset is the denial and the inability to take responsibility, true responsibility. So I want y'all to pay attention. Now, the question ultimately is going to lead to how does this affect Black folks? Well, how it affects Black folks is that Black folks, because of the mentality, they don't want to rock the boat. They just want to get by. They just want to be good. So they accept this psychotic attitude so we can be accepted, so we can earn a living, so we can live without being, looked down upon, without being, subjected to harsher realities than the realities we already face. And this is where you start breeding the coon. The coon. And why is it so important to recognize the coon? Well, the coon is the sociopath of the Black community. Let me say that shit again. The coon is the sociopath of the Black community, if you want to say we have community. Because the coon understands. The coon does have empathy. The reason why the coon has empathy is because most likely the coon has gone through all the shit we have gone through. It's just that the coon does not care anymore because he's more worried about the self rather than all. Well, as long as I got a house on the corner, as long as I got a BMW, as long as I got a good job, that's all that matters. which later turns into this whole idea of red pill ideology. Ho, ho, ho. This is real shit. Because that red pill ideology is telling you, look, black man, yeah, all that shit happened, but we're equal. Just forget about it, and we'll make your shit 100 times easier. And a lot of black folks right now is really jumping on that shit. So much so that they are starting to become detrimental to the black community. And today, I saw the absolute worst of the worst that I've ever seen before. And this comes from the psychopathy of a white mindset. Pay attention, y'all, because this shit's about to get real good. Again, fair use for everything I'm using. Fair use for everything that I'm using. And there's this lady right here that you see on your screen right now. Very pretty lady, very attractive, very, very, very attractive black woman, man. Successful black woman, goes out and she's a realtor, okay? Her name is Neko Cherry. Neko, Cherry is spelled Cheri. Neko Cherry. And this was her live not too long ago. Now, I've gone past the first part, and I'm going to start at the moment that she is talking to this one black man. Now, the thing about it is, I talked about, I already talked about this woman, about black women calling men dusties and all this shit. I did that just the other day for Father's Day. So I'm not going to stay and I'm not going to talk about that portion of the video, even though I could, but I'm not. I am going to stick to this because this was the most disturbing thing that I've heard come out of black folks' mouths in my whole entire life. And it is absolutely appalling. So without further ado, I'm gonna let y'all listen to her. Let's listen to this conversation. And yeah, every once in a while, I might stop. I'm not gonna stop too much because we're gonna get to the points. Once we get to the point, I'm gonna break this shit off. But let's listen. She's talking about black men, and she's saying that a lot of people are saying that she bashes black men, blase, blase. She invites some brothers up to make their points, and then she brings up this brother that she knows very well, and they start having the conversation, and this is that conversation. Let's go from there.
Because y'all is mean. Okay, I'm gonna bring Donnell on, and then I'm gonna bring Stephan on. Donnell, I'm gonna bring you on now. Hopefully we can get some better answers. Okay. Hopefully we can get some better answers. Look, I'm giving y'all a chance. It says you declined. It says you declined. I need y'all to come on here.
Now, let me say, this is one bad woman. This woman is beautiful. She's sexy as fuck. Unfortunately, she's dumb as a rock. But she is, she's not dumb as a rock as in she's dumb. She's not dumb. She's clearly a smart woman, right? She's a realtor. She's successful. You know what I mean? Well put together. You know what I mean? Has money. She's good, independent, black woman, right? But when it comes to this area of conversation, this woman is dumb as shit. Okay? So I don't want y'all saying, oh, you bashing black women. No, this is a beautiful black woman that is very intelligent in her area of expertise. Outside of that, she's dumb as rocks. And that's just a true statement. That's not a talking shit statement.
And I need y'all to, like, if this is y'all taking y'all best shot, I'm gonna have to give up on you. All right, so let me bring Stephen Hayes on. Stephen. Because Stephen like to come on my page and be an antagonist. What's up, Stephen? You want to fight?
No, I want to fight.
Okay.
What's going on? Okay. Like you said, the music, social media.
All right, this isn't the guy. I apologize. I went one guy too early. This is the guy. I apologize. This is the guy. My bad.
I'm trying to give, as many men as possible an opportunity to speak. Ken Billions. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna have to bypass everybody and jump right to Ken. Sorry, y'all. It just, it ain't no way for me to have this conversation with anybody else when Ken Billions want to speak.
Now, I want y'all to go get your goddamn drinks right now. Because you gonna need a drink when we go through this. So I suggest you get a drink because I'm getting mine right now. I'm already getting mine. Look, y'all niggas think I'm playing. I'm getting mine right the fuck now. So y'all get your drinks right now because you gonna need one right after this. Promise you. Am I frozen? I don't feel like I'm frozen. I'm seeing myself moving around. Hold on one second. Let me check something else. If I'm frozen, I don't want to be frozen at this point in time. So let's make sure I am not frozen. I don't feel like I'm frozen. I'm seeing myself moving around. Hold on one second. Let me check something else. There it is. If I'm frozen, I don't want to be good. I'm good. I'm good on my side. So if I'm frozen in any way, either refresh your browser or go to YouTube, come to Haps or anywhere else. All right. So let's get into this. Trust me, people. I suggest you go get your drinks because what these two motherfuckers is about to say and what these two motherfuckers is about to push is, look, let me just go. I'm just gonna let this play.
What's good, sis?
I can't even see you. Wait, bring it up a little more.
What's happening?
Bring it up. Yeah. How you doing?
What's good, sis? What's popping?
You see the conversation?
What's the word, man?
Man, I can't wait for you to speak. Like I seen your name pop up and I had to bypass everybody and cut to the chase.
What the fuck is the question, man?
So what I'm essentially asking is, constantly I'm being accused of attacking the Black man, but I always feel like I'm just holding them accountable for the things that I see happening in our community, right? I see Black men killing other Black men. I see music in the Black community promoting the mayhem, the murder, the rape, and the pillaging of our community. I don't hear anything, and I can't even remember a song outside of Tupac. That's the one that comes to mind, where we were just really for one another. Like, maybe there's some, I don't listen to that much music, but I just want.
Now, real quick, let's start right there. Okay? So she's starting to push these narratives that we've heard a lot. Black folks is killing black folks and, murdering and raping and blazes and blah that and blah that and blah that, okay? Which is true on the surface. And we already know, you guys know me, you guys know how I am, you know that I back up my statements with stats and evidence and everything else to go with it. But crime is not perpetrated by race. And this is a narrative. What up with it? What up, Munchie? How you doing, Munch? What up, Tony D? What up, Ali? What up, Bo? What up, Mary? What up, everybody in here? If I haven't said hello, let me say hello now. All right? But she's already started on a false narrative. What up, Holistic Deb? How you doing, beautiful? She's already started with a negative, false narrative that is, it sounds good and it sounds like the truth, but it truly is not. Because we know crime is based upon location, location, location. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many times I gotta fucking say this shit. And I don't know how many times I gotta show this shit. I don't understand why y'all motherfuckers, whether you white or now black, because I'm hearing black folks say this shit, you fucking, hold on. Look at that cool. You motherfuckers. You motherfuckers repeat this garbage. All right? That's what you bring to the table. And this is a false narrative. The fact of the matter is, if you live in a black neighborhood and you commit a crime, it's most likely going to be against and by a black person. It ain't got nothing to do with black folks just going around trying to kill black folks. It's about criminality and criminality behavior. So this automatically is a false narrative. Not only that, but it does not take into account why all these black men are committing crimes against other black men. It's ignoring that. And the last point is this. As I believe it would be Rob, okay? I believe it would be Rob that said this. Let me make sure I get it right. Hold on. Oops, sorry. Let's make sure I get this shit right. Hold on. Hey, you guys, I apologize. I don't know what the fuck happened. Give me 1 second. I'm getting everything back up. My shit just completely and utterly froze up. My shit completely and utterly froze up. I apologize. I'm loading everything back up. I'm loading everything back up right now. I want to say I totally fucking apologize for this shit. I don't know what's going on. I might have to have some things checked out on my computer. But okay, but I'm bringing it back up, and I'm going to get right back to the point where we're at. I swear to God, just give me 1 minute. I apologize. Give me 1 fucking minute, and let's do this. There we go. There it is, and there it is. Bang, right there. Right there, there. All right, so I'm almost back up. All right. Boom. 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 Woo! There we go. All right, I'm back up here. Let me stop. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, here we go. I apologize. Now I'm back. Can y'all hear me? I hope y'all can hear me. I hope everything's good. I hope you guys can hear me. You guys can hear me, right? We're good, right? Again, I totally apologize. That shouldn't have happened. I don't know what the fuck. So, but we're gonna get back up here and we're gonna get back to it because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you. We're gonna. This is a serious business. So let me make sure. And while we're doing this, again, go check out my guy Lace434 on YouTube. Please go check out Lace434 on YouTube. And also, you see all my information down here, $ reality check, VR2 on Cash App, and at Dab in Stuff LLC on Venmo. Go check that out if you can do that. Much appreciated. Okay, we back up and we right at where we was at. But listen to what she says because she's going to say something about music next. Watch.
Always feel like I'm just holding them accountable for the things that I see happening in our community, right? I see Black men killing other Black men. I see music in the Black community promoting the mayhem, the murder, the rape.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. All right. So the fact of the matter is, she claims that music isn't coming out that is good for Black folks. It's all murder, mayhem. It's all rape and kill and murder, and all this other shit. Right? But the fact of the matter is this. There's people out there like J. Cole, right? Kendrick Lamar, You know what I mean? Sebastian Cole, motherfucking, Tupac. There's lots of people out there putting good music out there. Not talking about bang, bang, shoot 'em up. She's just not looking for it. But if we're going to make the argument based upon music and what we hear on music, we have two things that we have to fucking do. Number one thing is, who is putting out the music? Wait a minute. Who is promoting and financially backing the negative music in the black community? Because when we was doing shit, we had motherfuckers like Common and motherfucking BDP, and we had a whole bunch of Queen Latifah, MC Light, Nas, and motherfuckers. We had hella motherfuckers that wasn't about shoot 'em up, bang, bang. We had elevation music. So who's pushing the music? Cause it ain't us. Right? Who's making that music popular? Primarily white kids. You better go look at who pays for the music in the music industry, because it sure as fuck ain't niggas. Niggas is always trying to get something for free. Why are you going to go down to the store and pick up the album? Or why are you going to go on iPod and pick up the album when you can listen to the album on YouTube? Come on, stop it. It's white people that do that shit. You understand? So already she put out a misnomer that we debunked. And now she's doing music, which now we debunked. Let's continue on to see what else she got to say. Shall we?
And the pillaging of our community, I don't hear anything. And I can't even remember a song outside of Tupac. That's the one that comes to mind, where we were just really for one another. Maybe there's some, I don't listen to that much music, but I just want to know what a man think is the solution for men, excluding women from the conversation for once, but just for Black men. What do they think is the solution to get us back on track?
All right, now he's going to get into his answers, and I want y'all to pay attention. You know what I mean? I want y'all to pay attention to his answer, because we're really going to dissect it, right? But the fact of the matter is look, we talked about this just the other day on Father's Day. You know, she was talking about this earlier, and if you go back and watch her video, you can actually hear her talk about, all the women, 3 out of 5 women will be raped. And then basically she was putting it all on Black men and shit like that. But the fact of the matter is this. Listen, ladies, if we're going to go and play that tit for tat shit, there's just as many Black women out there who are molesting and raping young Black boys. And let's not get this shit twisted. There's lots of young Black men who lost their virginity at 11, 12, and 13 years old by mama's friend that was watching them. All right? What I'm saying is, both Black men and Black women both have things to fix. You can't always throw that shit out there. On top of that, I really want to point this out, and I know a lot of women hate hearing this shit, but for the last 30, 40 years, 50 years, I want to make sure y'all understand that, we've been the number one leader in Black single parent households for the last 30, 40 years. Number one. Now, a lot of people don't really get that shit, but every 10 years, there's a new group that's coming out that's being born. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 different fucking years, decades where people are born at different ages of single mothers who are raising men. Now, if you do the fucking math, if you were born 30, 40 years ago, right, and you had a kid 20 years ago, that child is now 20 years old. So we're talking the last 1 or 2 generations. Black women, the fact of the matter is you're raising the men that you despise. Whether you want to admit it or not, I don't really give 2 shits. You can suck a dick. Facts don't care about your feelings. You can accept that or not. Okay? But I got stats to back me up. What you got? Your feelings? Because facts don't give 2 shits about your feelings. Really, they don't. So what we're dealing with is a black woman who does not want to put the equal amount of blame on the damage to the black community that the black woman has done. She wants to act like it's all black men. And I say, no. The damage to the black community has been done by both black men and black women, period. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Deal with it. Deal with your responsibility, accept it, and fix it. Shut the fuck up. Quit trying to act like somebody else has to do something first before you do something. How about you fix you and everybody else will fix everybody else? Now, let's get into what the fuck she's about to say.
Well, I mean, for real, we in the Aquarius age, right? So we are like sticking to a lot of ideals from the civil rights generation, where we seen people make a move and we think that is the same move that we need to make, but we're in the age of personal accountability. So personal accountability for me is... Wait, babe.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but they're saying they can't see you. So bring the camera up higher to, there you go. Yeah. If you sit back a little.
Personal accountability for me is that I draw a line in the sand. I don't fuck with every nigga, right? And I don't consider myself this one group of dudes, right? There's a personal line in the sand, and I operate on my personal standard. And I don't expect every dude with brown skin to have my personal standard. However, the number one thing in life is influence, right? So I don't say we, I say me. So the only thing that I could do is affect somebody by my behavior and pass on my personal standard, right? And I think we make a huge mistake about this ideal of leadership. A male by nature is not a natural leader. Leadership is a science that needs to be learned. They have leadership conferences. There's leadership books. There's no hormone in the male body that produces leadership. So we have this illusion that a male by nature is a natural leader. If that's the case, why you got all these niggas getting punched in the face by other dudes?
I just want to say that was a really stupid example. I get his point, and I don't necessarily totally disagree, but that was a stupid example. Because, nigga, I can punch you in the mouth. Does that mean you're not a leader? Ain't nothing stopping nobody from fucking punching anybody in the motherfucking mouth. That being punched in the mouth doesn't qualify you or disqualify you from the leadership role. What, you act like motherfucking leaders ain't never been punched in their mouth before? Man, fuck out of here. That shit was dumb.
So the male is not a natural leader, right? Leadership has to be learned. It's a science. It's a skill set, right? It's a discipline that you have to and understand. The leader don't come in first. The leader suffers. Who wants to suffer? Who's raising their hand to suffer, right? The leader eats last. The leader is the first one there and the last to lead. The leader is not the beneficiary of their leadership. Other people are, right? You think people want that by nature? Don't nobody want that. People want instant gratification. So I think the main thing is we don't sit with ideals and concepts. We just say ambiguous things, right? The male is not the natural leader, but I think one has to lead themselves now. And I'm not responsible for derelict niggas. Because they're
right, like the ones in my comments. Like You know, I see them in your comments too. Like they actually get frustrated. Like I'm opening my forum to men coming on here and talking, and there's literally men in the comments who won't come on here and talk, and they're frustrated and they're angry, and they just take their anger out on me, when really they should be just holding themselves accountable. Like you said, they need to be addressing themselves and what in them is got them so frustrated and so mangled that the idea of accountability frustrates them.
Let me tell you, Nico, for real, mama is the easiest person to blame, because mama in our mind is not human. Right? So the way that we are now, understand this, Nico, listen to this. Femininity and female nature comes out the ideal of dudes, not women. You can't tell me the oldest book in the world about femininity written by a woman. So when we're looking and we're having these ideals about women, it's coming out of the mind of man.
No, I don't think he can actually back that up with anything. I'm gonna be honest with you right there. I think that's bullshit. The concept of femininity is something that has been grown and fostered for, thousands of years. Now, do I think that in some cultures men have dominated certain ideas of femininity? Yeah, I can argue with that. I can fuck with that. But I don't think you can actually make that to be true, being the fact that you don't really understand ancient civilization as well as he thinks he does. So I don't agree with it, but it's not that big of a deal, so we'll just move on.
So when we see you even have a flaw, we can't handle it because we're controlling the woman's image, right? So this is why when you talk about men go right back to women, because the ideal of women is an ideal inside of the mind of male, right? And it started with the rise of agriculture, but that's another story when we got our tinfoil hat on, right? So it's hard to look in the mirror as a person when we have these objects in our mind called women, because that's what it is, it's an object. And what we expect is women to live a higher degree of standard that we can't be. So you have to be more sexually disciplined than us. You have to be more money focused. They tell you to pick better, but to pick is logic, right? They say you're emotional, but then say pick better. To pick is to pay attention to patterns.
Again, we're getting to this point of here, let's alleviate black women from responsibility. Let's put all responsibility on us and fucking on men, and everything that has to be fixed is by man, but man is not the leader. See how this is contradiction? 1 minute he's acting like, well, women are subjugated with the ideals that we put on them today in society based off of Christian ideals, not based upon black history or black ideals or black ideology, not based upon motherfucking anything else, but it's based off of religious ideology. That's what it's based on. Religious ideology, which has moved the motherfucking, the civilizations to where we are now. So stop trying to put that directly on men. You want to put that on anybody? All right, put it on y'all niggas who still read the fucking Bible. Okay? Because that's where that shit comes from. That's where that comes from. It don't come from me. Because I can give two shits who you fucking. And I really can give two shits who you fucking, because guess what? It ain't me. So, yeah, that's bullshit. Let's continue.
Right? So to pick is reason, but they say you're emotional. This is why I say the men control the image of women. Right? So understand, women where I will fault women is you have to take control of your image and your narrative. And the opportunity to take control, I think women are only expressing that through sexuality. And that's
no, they're not. No, they're not. Absolutely not. And that's not true. And if you don't see women taking control of the narrative right now, I have an echo. I do. Yeah, nobody else is hearing echoes. So try to jump out and then jump back in. Try to jump out and jump back in. All right? All right. So let's keep on going with this guy's narrative because he's about to get in some pseudoscience shit that ain't make no sense.
That's one part of it. But there's an intellectual component of it too that is missing because men have been controlling what a woman is, the behavior, what women think. Women never said we're emotional. Men said that. Women never said we're nurturers. Men said that. Women.
Okay. Just because, listen, don't get me wrong. I get his point. Right? I get his point. But let's be honest. Why do we say women are emotional? Yeah, I know it's dumb. Why do we say women are emotional? Why do women call themselves emotional? Right? Why do we do it? Does anybody know why we call women emotional? Anybody have an idea on why we as a society generally say women are emotional? Because they're emotional, right? Right? But here's the thing. Let's just be honest about this. I want to be honest about this. The fact of the matter is, a large majority of this idea, you know what I mean? Women are led by emotion, right? A large majority of this idea actually came from, the cycles of women, right? So when they're on their cycle, we know for a fact, right? They tend to get a little bit more emotional. This is their chemical. This is the chemicals in their body. This is natural. Right? When it's that time, emotions get a little bit more wound up, a little bit more tight. Okay? We know this. Scientifically, we can show this because the period actually changes the chemical makeup in the brain. So it makes you sometimes a little bit more emotional. So you might cry more, or might feel more lovey-dovey, or you might feel extra sad. You see what I'm saying? These are natural things. Now, another thing is, why do we call women emotional? Is because throughout all the years, all we hear from women is, tell me your emotions. Let's talk about our emotions and our feelings. Because that's the level that women work on. That's the level women work on. I want to be connected to my soulmate. I want to know about them. I love them. I want to get to know them. They're nurturers by nature. A lot of people don't like hearing that. A lot of women don't like hearing that shit. But you are. That's why when you have a child, you care about your child so much because you're nurturers by nature. That's emotion. That's feeling. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So my point is this: just because a man can, said a woman is emotional, doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Not everything a man says is automatically wrong. Now I get certain things, like men butting into women's reproductive rights. We ain't got no business talking about that shit. Fuck out of here. But fuck it. Are you serious? Fuck out of here. This is dumb. Stop it.
Never said what their behavior was. Men said that. You understand? Because men control literature. Men control the institutions, right? So this is how it is. So when you having these conversations, it's always going to go back to mama. Always. So no matter what, because that's the easiest place to control. But me personally, I'm about the hero's journey, right? So I know, look, if I don't want to be a fuck nigga, that has nothing to do with my mama. And she was a human first before she was my mama, right? And
so how do men do that? Because, Ken, let's just be real. You kind of like an anomaly. You know what I mean? Really, both of us, we're just very unique people, which is why we click the way that we do. So, how does the average everyday man get to the point of even one being able to even perceive the concepts that you just said, and then taking accountability and being able to actually apply it to himself? Like, how does he even get there? What's that journey look like?
Nico, it's a scary journey because it's individual rights, right? It's an individual. Right. And when you're this color, you don't see yourself as an individual, right? Notice you was asking, no disrespect to the guy before, but the question that you're asking, it always come back to the community. Who the fuck is that?
Okay. To all my black folks in here, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like you're an individual, or do you feel like you're a community? Black folks, please answer this for me. Are you a community or an individual? Individual. Community is dead. Are we not seeing something common? See, the fact of the matter is, this is a bullshit narrative. This right here is a bullshit narrative, and that's what he's feeding you. Black men are individuals, and this guy is trying to pull a fast one, and watch how he does this.
Who is that? I could be in Alaska right now and I talk about the community. I could be on Mars, talked about the community. And it's a program that you see yourself as this big organism, but ain't no such thing as group caskets.
Right. And here's the thing, Rob. I am an individual who is part of a bigger community. You're right. Nuance. Very, 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 very important in this. You see what I'm saying? Nuance is important. And these guys ain't gonna fucking be able to understand that. And watch how bad this gets, though.
Right? Mm-hmm. So the scary thing, Nico.
So you mean we ain't gonna die alone?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
We all dying alone.
We all dying alone. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Dying alone. Right? So they're more focused on dying alone, but how you live. Right? I'm more about living a life of meaning. Ain't nothing wrong with dying alone. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Look, if you standing on righteousness, you may die alone.
Okay, and what's righteousness? Since we are ignoring community, we're ignoring everything else. Define righteousness. What the fuck does that mean?
If you standing on a code, you may die alone. If you're standing on right principles, you may die alone.
What are right principles?
Crowded areas where all the weirdos is at. So that's the one thing. But the other thing is to have agency over your life. That's a scary thing to say. You know what? I did that because I wanted to, not because of trauma, not because of my mom, not because of my neighborhood. I did that because I wanted to, and guess what? I'm wrong.
Now, the thing is if you listen to the very beginning of what he was saying, he was acknowledging the fact that your community does sway, like, does sway, you know, like ideals. And now what he's saying is going completely against this and ignoring that. And now he's saying this is about self. How does that work? If you're not, if it's all about everybody else and not your situation and not influences and not all the things that surround you in your life, if the decisions that you make aren't based upon that shit, what else is it based on? You know what I mean? Like this is like contradicting shit if you pay attention, because at the very beginning he was acknowledging how community does influence. But now he's saying take personal responsibility. How does that work? How do you say both are true on both of them? You have to look, if you want to say personal responsibility across the board, responsibility across the board. But you can't then say, oh, but you are influenced. So that does make a difference on who you turn out to be. You can't then say that. You see how he's kind of like just jumping and picking and choosing, and he's kind of going against his own argument. Watch, it's going to get worse too.
I was wrong. I'm only operating on the information that I had at the time. That's it. I'm wrong. Do you forgive me or not? I'm keeping moving, but I was wrong. And that's the thing, right? So when and it's scary because a white male is personal accountability, right? A black male shortcomings, it's post-traumatic slave syndrome, school to prison pipeline, right? And that is the way you judge boys.
You see how this is? He's acting like as if none of these things actually have an impact on young black men and black women lives. The fact of the matter is, we know this is patently false. We know that PTSD really does affect people. We know this for a fact. Okay, this is why we have tons and tons of vets out there on the street. This is why fucking we have all this shit. PTS ain't real. It doesn't have anything, no influence on your life on a day-to-day basis. No? Okay, go talk to the PTSD therapist. Go talk to fucking the epigenetics, genetics. Go look up the fucking studies. You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
See, and the thing is, a Negro male can never be accountable for anything. Only a man can be accountable, right? So we talk in.
So now what he's doing is he's saying that y'all Negroes ain't men. Y'all Negro males, and you can't be held accountable because you don't take no kind of responsibility. Watch.
A male state. That's what a minority is. It's minor, right? So we talk from that perspective all the time. Hey, why did you do that? Man, these single moms. Hey, why did you do that? Oh man, because of the community. No, a sovereign person has to raise their hand and say,
wait. Hello? Jesus Christ, I don't know why this thing keep on muting me. It's like automatically muting me. How many people have ever fucking heard some nigga said, I'm selling dope and I'm killing niggas, other niggas, because I got post-traumatic slave syndrome? How many niggas has ever heard some nigga say that shit in the hood? Because I ain't never heard no nigga say no shit like that. Never. You know why niggas sold drugs in my hood? Nigga, because that shit sell itself. Nigga, I'm finna get this bread. If it ain't me, it's gonna be someone else. Nigga, but what about prison? Nigga, I'll just do my little time. Nigga, I'll get the fuck out. Wait a minute. Where's the blaming on the man shit? Where's the blaming on society's L's and my traumas and my PTSD? Yeah, so did I. I just got that message too. This is a bullshit narrative. Pay attention.
If I win or lose, I shook the dice and it's on me. So I would say for the women that are listening, the dude that's standing on righteousness might not drive a Bentley. The dude that's standing this he may or may not. This is the thing.
Damn.
He may or may not. Right? He may or may not. But because this is the thing, those men that we're talking about becoming, what does that look like? Or do people want to control what that looks like too? So you want an accountable man, a responsible man, a dependable man? Well, what does that look like? Maybe he's a millionaire, maybe he's not. Maybe he drive a Lambo, maybe he don't. But if your principle is righteousness, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because guess what, Nico? Let's be honest, an accountable man is not going to get the Bentley unless he can buy two of them. Right? An accountable man, is going to be like, nah, babe, this ain't the right time for us to go to Miami. The accountable man is going to be like, no, I'm not copping shoes because I got responsibilities. That's the flip side to this shit. Do we really want what we're saying? Because the flip side is delayed gratification. So do we really want what we're saying? And we want it in ideal, but I don't know if we really want that, Nico, because it don't show up on IG pics. So do you really want that kind of dude? Because that kind of dude is not nice.
Now, so I agree to this extent. In my 20s, maybe not. In my 48s, absolutely. You know, I mean, how much time you got? You know, a lot of our black men not even making it past 50. So he needs to get there a whole lot sooner than 47.
Get where?
Mentally, even in the progression of what you're saying, right? And not to remove the financial aspect of it, because that's a quality characteristic too. Now, in your 20s, you know, you're gonna have that journey. We all are, right? Which is why a lot of women, the reason why they have a baby daddy is because they made the decision to have a child in our 20s, where we weren't all the way sure about who we were as women, let alone what type of men we needed to father our kids outside.
Now, at this point, I was thinking in my head, okay, she gonna fucking take some responsibility. Cool. Right? Because they're sitting on here talking about taking responsibility. Right? Oh, but wait. Oh, but just wait.
Him being cute and cool, right? Or just the dude that we were messing around with at the time. But I think that with everything that you said, I love that and I appreciate that. But I also have to add, because of what I do and how I see things, I have to add the financial component to it. And way before, you know, around late 20s, early 30s, they better start getting that shit together, because guess what? A part of that accountability is leaving an inheritance for your kid. And at the bare bone minimum, even in your 20s, you should have life insurance or something established so that we don't keep falling into these pitfalls of, you know, the
which I don't disagree with as far as the financial advice, but you notice how she scapegoated the responsibility of women, because what she did was she walked right by it. Yeah, us women, we don't really understand, you know, what we supposed to be looking for, blase, blase, blase. But men, right? Again, not taking responsibility. Again, where's the accountability? Where is it at? At the end of the day, the last defense for your pussy is you, sweetheart. I said this shit the other day. At the end of the day, the last defense to your pussy is you. So outside of some nigga raping you, you was absolutely 150% with that nigga and actively made the decision to let that nigga bust a fat nut in your pussy. Now, I hate to put it in such graphic ways, but apparently motherfuckers don't want to pay attention to this shit. Now, where's her accountability? But yet, she wants to turn it around to men. Well, men should have this, and men should have that, and men should have this. Okay, what should women have? This is what's missing out of the dialogue from all these conversations about what we need to do as a group to make better choices. And that's what's going on right here. And he's going to keep on sucking on her clit because he's a simp like that.
For the ones who can't, stop blaming the community. Like, you have to have some kind of financial barrier to uphold you as you lift up. You have to be able to stand on that to a certain extent. Now, whether that's a Bentley or a Tesla, or a Toyota, you know, you have to be able to stand on something in order to build, because that's what the white man has done. Even if it, you know, his kid is like, fuck you, dad, you know, I hate you. His kids still have something to stand on financially, and something to build on as he.
Yeah, you know, that he's been able to build on for generation after generation after generation after generation after generation, with handout after handout after handout after handout after handout. Again, ignoring all of history and just saying, oh, well, look at what the white man has done for his kids. Okay, when did black folks have an opportunity to do that? I'll wait. Because in 1910, we tried that. 1911, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All the way to 25. We did that fully. And what happened? We wasn't able to take advantage of insurance. We wasn't able to take advantage of life insurance or funeral insurance, or we couldn't take advantage of none of that shit. We didn't have access to those things. So we didn't learn about those things. So in the modern society, we are still not being taught about these things. Therefore, we don't use and take advantage of these things, because not enough black folks understand the financial sector of this country, because we have been isolated out of that since 1925. You see how this goes? So she's ignoring it while big upping some random white dude, not taking into account the history that we've been subjugated to.
Takes that journey. So
okay, and I know you'll relate to this. One of the things about in this culture, whatever this nigga shit is, righteousness and knowledge is also inheritance, right? So
absolutely,
there are European males that start in America flat broke, right? but baked into the culture is something like Think and Grow Rich, right? So also in Jewish culture, they don't all start with money, but what they do start is a program called the Talmud, or they use the Torah, right? So
Jesus Christ, I don't know what the fuck this app is automatically muting my shit. I apologize. Listen, again, he's not taking into account of what motherfucking these other groups are getting. Again, this is a narrative that is utter nonsense. Listen, when Asian folks started coming into this country, black folks were still slaves. When early white folks came into this motherfucking country, at worst, they were indentured servants for 7 to 21 years. At worst. When all other groups started coming to America, the people who passed for white gained based upon their whiteness. Let's not get this shit twisted. From that whiteness, they were able to take advantage of the Homestead Act, the Free Land Act. They were able to take advantage of early welfare. They were able to take advantage of fucking all of these grants, all of these loans, everything. The fact of the matter is, when immigrants come to this country, they are given money, okay? Asians came over to this country, got put into internment camps. They got a whole bunch of money. Had a whole bunch of immigrants that came over here after war, like the Vietnam War. Those people who came during that whole situation, they got money. Don't get it twisted. They all got business loans. They all got business loans because the government said, here, come on over here. We'll help you get started and you can build over here since you can't be over there. Amnesty. Where the fuck are the black folks Homestead Acts and the black folks fucking business loans and the black folks getting fucking money for being in concentration camps or fucking being slaves? Where is black folks fucking bills of anti-hate? You understand what I'm saying? So these people are not starting on the same footing as foundational black Americans in this country. So these narratives are bullshit, but it gets better. Watch.
Right.
I might not get rich, but do I pass down my son something that he can look into and say, oh, my dad messed up here at 25 or at 30. See, the thing about it is the world's value is not actually $1. The world's value is actually knowledge. And we tend to look at knowledge as a downfall. And we actually, and what we elevate is material shit. But with the knowledge, I can get it in China. I can get it anywhere.
And again, bro, this is a false dichotomy. Again, black folks, you acting like black folks don't care about knowledge. That's a lie. Black folks have been building fucking educational institutions since they started being built. Black folks in America didn't have access to motherfucking extended schools. We couldn't go to the 4 years schools. We had to create our own colleges. And only a few black folks got to go to them colleges. See, he's making more bullshit arguments. This is all garbage.
That's one thing that we don't pass down. We don't pass down knowledge. What we'll pass down is the ideals of white supremacy.
No, that's bullshit. I don't know if it's just me, but I grew up in a black house, and guess what? All I ever heard was go to school, get your education, get knowledge, gain knowledge, read books, fucking do this. I don't know a single black person who was ever told, yeah, don't worry about education. You got to worry about the system of white supremacy and racism and the man trying to keep you down. No. Black folks have always said, look, you need to get as much education as you can so you can give these people less reason to keep you down. You have to go harder than any of these motherfuckers to get what you want. That's what every single black person has ever been told, hands down. You got to work twice as hard as any white man to get just as much as your average white man. That's bullshit.
But not the offensive strategy for white supremacy, because when we look at Think and Grow Rich, we'll see that Napoleon Hill studied the most successful minds at that time.
Right.
J.P. Morgan, he studied John Rockefeller, he started Andrew Carnegie, right? And Think and Grow Rich is basically the business Bible for everybody that wants to make some money. That's where you start, right?
Everybody. I have.
And don't get me wrong, that is a decent book. It's a really good book to read, to understand financials and shit like that. But that is not the key to everything. Just because you read that book and you got a lot from it doesn't mean everybody's going to get the same as you from it. So again, he's pushing a false narrative, acting as if we still have the capability of doing everything. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Not everybody is going to have that opportunity. We might have that knowledge, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to fucking take advantage of that knowledge, because there are different sets of circumstances that black folks have to overcome. All other groups do not, because we are a unique group and we've been through a unique challenge. So this, again, all of this is false narratives. It's acting as if we are on the same playing field as everyone else when we're not. Don't get it twisted. We're not. We're not on the same playing field. We know we're not on the same playing field. Asian, Middle Eastern, Indian, and even in some cases, well, I'll save that. Okay, they're all of their business and housing fucking that they do usually is right at the same as white people. It's always usually showed to be just, it's worth just as much, right? Put a black man and a white man in two houses that's exactly like on the exact same block, and the black man that bought his house, he's going to usually pay $50,000 to $100,000 more than the white man. And the appraisal of his home is usually going to be $50,000 to $100,000 less than the white man's appraisal on the exact same house. So that in itself disproves what the fuck you're saying.
I have it on replay all the time. I read that book at least twice a year. At least twice a year. For learning purposes. And wait, I can't hear you. There you go.
No, that can you hear me?
Yeah, it went out for a second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's an important thing, because that's also inheritance. Your library.
Right.
Right? That's an inheritance. So yeah, get the money At the same time, we also want to look inside of other cultures and see what their value system is. In Eastern culture, they'll pass down the art of war, right? They'll pass down the Tao Te Ching, right?
Yeah.
So we, in our minds, look down on knowledge. So that's the thing, because everybody not going to get 1 million.
Wait.
And that's not true either. The fact of the matter is they are capable of passing down that knowledge. Our knowledge was stolen from us. Therefore, what knowledge are we able to pass down? The only thing that we're able to pass down is the oral traditions that we were capable of doing when we were able to keep them a secret.
Wait. So let me, because I see some dusty comments in here. What he is not saying is to be a poverty. He is not telling you to not have any financial stability. That's not what he's saying. He's talking about the prioritization of your knowledge versus material possession. Because if you have everything material and you have no knowledge of it, first off, you're going to lose all the material that you have. And then you have nothing to pass down to your children in order for them to be able to sustain anything, in order for you to build your family foundation. He's absolutely not telling you to come into the picture broke, leave broke, and stay broke. What he's saying is, when you're prioritizing as a man, first things first, know thyself, right? Know thyself, and also understand the other structures that are happening here. Right, Ken, am I correct?
Oh, totally. I'm first of all, my purpose of I did my flexing already, right? And I'll be honest, a lot of males have to go through this. A lot of males have to have the feeling of putting a baddie on their back. You have to know what that feels like. You got to know what it feels like hitting her in the high rise. You got to do all that shit just to realize it don't mean no. I'm just keeping it a buck. You have to feel that, right? So,
right.
You got to know the feeling as a woman to knock down the baddest nigga in the club, to know it ain't shit. You need to feel that. You need to. I'm keeping it a stack.
I'm pretty consistent.
You need to feel that. Yo, you need to feel that feeling that the baddest person in here, you done slayed them. And when you have that feeling,
we have to. People talk about, not to cut you off, but people talk about ego. They talk about ego like it's this separate entity. But the truth of the matter is that there has to be some kind of support on all of your traits, right? So even your ego has to be fed to some extent, correct?
Yeah. The only way I could move on to get to the inner me, I grew up in hip hop culture, so I had to do all the things that hip hop said was important.
Right.
So I had to pull up in the Benz. And guess what? When I pulled up in the Benz, a nigga pulled up next to me in a newer one. So I'm like, damn, all right? Look, I had to knock the baddies down. And guess what? When I knocked the baddies down, I seen a girl badder than her. I'm like,
right.
But the Bible say the eyes that's not satisfied with silver, right? Eventually, so you have to do that so it's nothing to you. So then you can focus on the real. And what's happening is you have a generation of people that have desires and they have not been able to express those desires, especially the males. Let me tell you why this is dangerous. This is the first time in the last 2,000 years that guys couldn't inherit a woman. Because when you control the resources, it doesn't matter how you look, your sense of humor, you can be fat and smelly, you're going to get a woman. So now the resources is more divided and women can get their own. So now you have guys that traditionally would get pussy, they're not.
At all.
And what that doing is creating a hatred for the woman, because what men once had to attract women doesn't exist no more. And there's a robot now that can do what my upper body strength used to do.
And this is kind of true and kind of not. And the fact of the matter is half of it is true. Like, in a sense, I could say, okay, I kind of agree with, men are not getting women and they're getting upset a little bit. I could say that. I could say that, I guess. Right? But the question still needs to be asked. Are they upset because they're not able to get the women, or are they upset because all the women have such high standards that they're frustrated with the women? I mean, it can go a little of both ways, man. So I think this idea that niggas just can't get no pussy, right, and they're mad because they can't get no pussy, I think that shit is wrong. And I don't believe that either. I just want to point that out. There's a whole bunch of broke niggas getting pussy out here. Let me say that again, just in case y'all didn't catch that shit. There's a whole bunch of broke niggas out here getting pussy. If you think niggas is broken because they're broke, they can't get no pussy, or because they can't tell no, you're out of your fucking mind. I can get pussy and a broad don't even have to know how much money I got. So that's bullshit. You can get pussy out here. You know what I mean? Like, let's stop that. Niggas ain't mad because they can't get no pussy, really. Because niggas is getting pussy. And at the end of the day, you can pay for pussy if you really gotta have it. So this narrative is not totally on the up and up either.
So now to attract women, I have to be unique, a little different, right? I have to,
Right.
I can't tell corny jokes and get a woman no more, right?
Lies. I can tell plenty of corny jokes and get plenty of broads on my nuts. Nigga, you just don't have game. You don't have charm. You don't know how to treat women. See, that's the problem. The problem isn't, nigga, you ain't got nothing, or nigga, you got something and now you worthy of a brag. No, nigga, you have no motherfucking game. Okay? Any man that tells you that niggas is mad because they can't get no pussy, and it's because you can't tell no joke, or because you're broke, you can't get no fucking pussy. Lies. This nigga's just a simp. This nigga is projecting his inability to get pussy onto every other man that he's dealing with. Let's not get this twisted. I know fat niggas that can, fat, broke, disgusting niggas who got bitches, nigga. And you sitting here talking about you can't get no bitches anymore because, no, nigga, you have no game. Use a simp. And that's how you know this right here, what this man is doing, is nothing more than for likes, subscribes, fucking money, and pussy. That's it. He's trying to big up a whole bunch of women that are, you know, feeling a certain type of way. And so all the women are going to be like, oh my God, look at this. He's so woke, yeah. He's so woke. Look at him. He's so woke. Oh my God, girl. Look at that brother. He's so woke. The fuck out of here, bro. You're simping. That's what that is. That is simping.
I can't not have good hygiene and get a woman no more, right? Because guess what? The women have options.
Guess what? Again, nigga, you wrong. Because I know some smelly ass niggas that got some bad bitches. And them niggas broke. I'm talking dirty pants, dirty shirt, dirty drawers, and they still got bad bitches that ride motherfucking Audis and shit. Fuck out of here, dumbass.
This is why this is the most attractive people that ever existed. When you look at old photos, people look terrible. Why? Because people didn't have a choice in their mating.
Did you guys just hear what he said? Wait a minute. I want y'all to hear that shit again. Listen to what he just said.
But people talk about ego. They talk about ego like it's this separate entity. But the truth of the matter is that there has to be some kind of support on all of your traits, right? So even your ego has to be fed to some extent, correct?
Yeah. The only way I could move on to get to the inner me, I grew up in hip hop culture, so I had to do all the things that hip hop said was important.
Right.
So I had to pull up in the Benz. And guess what? When I pulled up in the Benz, a nigga pulled up next to me in a newer one. So I'm like, damn, all right? Look, I had to knock the baddies down. And guess what? When I knocked the baddies down, I seen a girl badder than her. I'm like,
right.
But the Bible say the eyes that's not satisfied with silver, right? Eventually, so you have to do that so it's nothing to you. So then you can focus on the real. And what's happening is you have a generation of people that have desires and they have not been able to express those desires, especially the males. Let me tell you why this is dangerous. This is the first time in the last 2,000 years that guys couldn't inherit a woman. Because when you control the resources, it doesn't matter how you look, your sense of humor, you could be fat and smelly, you're gonna get a woman. So now the resources is more divided and women can get their own. So now you have guys that traditionally would get pussy, they're not.
At all.
And what that doing is creating a hatred for the woman, because what men once had to attract women doesn't exist no more. And there's a robot now that can do what my upper body strength used to do. So now to attract women, I have to be unique, a little different, right? I have to, I can't tell corny jokes and get a woman no more, right? I can't not have good hygiene and get a woman no more, right? Because guess what? The women have options. This is why this is the most attractive people that ever existed. When you look at old photos, people look terrible. Why? Because people didn't have a choice in their mating.
So apparently, y'all, just in case y'all didn't know, your mama and your daddy didn't have a choice on who they fucked. Your grandmama and grandpappy ain't had no choice who they fucked. Your great-great-grandpappy ain't had no choice who the fuck they fucked. They were forced to be together. And the reason why there's more attractive people is because you get to choose to be with attractive people. But, right, he capping as fuck, bro. And the thing is what's so funny is he just said, you know what I mean? You know, he just said people are more attractive these days. Right? He just said you can't be stanky and fat. You can't be this and you can't be that. It's about resources, right? But then he says, but you can be if you rich. Basically, he's saying that rich folks can get anything, you can't get nothing, and you mad because they get everything, you get nothing. It's really weird. This is a really weird dude to think that shit. Listen to what he's saying. It's like really simp shit, bro. Oh, I had to get a BMW so I can knock down the bitches. Nigga, if you needed a BMW to knock down bitches, bro, getting a BMW wasn't going to help you knock down bitches, nigga. It was going to help you knock down a whole bunch of fucking like greedy hoes, nigga. So I guess if you say so.
So that's what's happening now. Why you have this generation of men that women are this, women are that.
I call it the revenge of the nerds generation.
You can't get one. And what that does is it creates this thing where now it's actually very dangerous, right? So, and that's the issue that you have going on, is that the man is not entitled to a wife anymore. But he has been for the last 1,500 years since Orthodox religion started taking over indigenous tribes. So now things are secular. So even in people's Christianity or Islam, it's still a secular component of it. It's not benign authority, right? So that's what's happening right now. But I suggest it's the information age. And W.E.B. Du Bois said something interesting in the...
This nigga is a misquoting genius. Check him out.
Talented 10th. He said that slavery was the legalized survival of a weak gene.
Okay, he said slavery. He took this statement completely out of context. Like, really? He took this shit completely and utterly out of context. But watch where he goes with it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Pay attention, because he starts to go in on weak genes. And this is where it gets really important. And this is where it's going to come back to what we were talking about on that first video, when we were talking about white folks being psychopaths, right? And them not being able to accept anything. And so they like to just ignore it, and they like to be violent and all this other shit, right? But this is the other side, and this is what happens when people just acquiesce in order to just get by. But it's even more scary because he's going to take white supremacist talking points and act as if they were absolutely good things. Watch.
You got to let the weak gene die off. So people make the mistake of...
I have heard you say that, and I 100% agree. And you know, women, the fellas do have somewhat of a point of you being the gatekeepers. You know, you can't have a baby. I wish I had known this younger. You can't have a baby with the person you got pregnant by. You have to have a baby with at least twice a year. At least twice a year. For learning purposes. And wait, I can't hear you. There you go.
No, that can you hear me?
Yeah, it went out for a second.
Look, your sense of humor, you can be fat and smelly. Your suggest it's the information age. And W.E.B. Du Bois said something interesting in the Talented 10th. He said that slavery was the legalized survival of a weak gene. You got to let the weak gene die off. So people...
Okay, he's saying you have to let the weak gene die off. Black folks, he's talking about you. Now, I know you guys are probably like, yeah, but, you know, I get it. Weakness from weak dudes and weak motherfuckers and blah. No. Listen. Pay attention to what he's about to fucking propose next.
Make the mistake of...
I have heard you say that, and I 100% agree. And you know, women, the fellas do have somewhat of a point of you being the gatekeepers. You know, you can't have a baby. I wish I had known this younger. You can't have a baby with the person you got pregnant by. You have to have a baby with the man who possesses the knowledge and the strong genes in order for you to build with. You can't have children with weak nature men. You just can't. You cannot continue to do that. That gene has to die off.
Women.
There was a real quick, Ken. When I was in high school, I remember my history teacher. He was talking about the Olympics, and I've never researched to confirm this, but he was trustworthy enough.
No, he wasn't, because everything she's about to say is a lie. And a simple Google search would have found out that this broad has been fooled by some white dude preaching white supremacy bullshit that never happened. And she's about to regurgitate it to a room full of black men and black women.
and you may remember, but he talked about how was it the Germans? Don't quote me on everything, but I believe it was the Germans. He was saying that they genetically only allowed certain people to mate with certain people, and it was built on their physical strength, right? And he said that because they did that for years, they had to have a certain type of look, they had to have a certain type of intelligence, a certain type of strength. And in the Olympics, following those years of them genetically, right, altering by having certain people only mate with certain people, they dominated the Olympics.
No, they didn't. They lost. As a matter of fact, Jesse Owens quite literally mollywopped all of them motherfuckers. Are you serious? No, they didn't. They lost. Not only did they lose, but they found out they was cheating using methamphetamines. See, and steroids. Fuck out of here. This broad's a dummy.
They literally built a community of people who could overpower every single other culture in the Olympics. They dominated the Olympics.
No, they didn't.
No, it wasn't Hitler. It wasn't Hitler.
It was Hitler,
It was the
dumbass.
Germans, though. It was Germany.
It was Hitler
still
and the
that same
Germans,
mindset.
you
They were
ignorant
literally-
fucks. See, and this is the fucking dumb shit that fucking, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is the fuckery that y'all motherfuckers listen to. It's not even true. It was Hitler, and Hitler lost. He was pissed off because all the niggers beat his fucking athletes. She's lying, and look at this dumb nigga sitting there like he's smart. Got his hand on his chin like, yup. No, nigga, you just as dumb as her. Both of you dumbass Negroes is up here lying to people. You better go look at the fucking Google. Google's your best friend right now. They dominated nothing.
Having people only mate with people of power and strength. And so they dominated in the Olympics, because when my teacher was saying that, I remember everybody in the class saying, oh, I can't believe they did that. He said, but wait a minute. What they decided was actually true. What they decided was actually true, that they dominated. They dominated by picking certain characteristics, breeding, yes, babe. And even so, like even now, when people have babies, what do? They go into there and they say, I want a boy. I want them to have these characters. People are literally picking and choosing the.
Here comes pseudoscience number 2. Watch this nigga start talking about CRISPR and not have any idea of what the fuck he's talking about.
Qualities and characteristics of their children before they're even born.
So this is the thing. When Claude Anderson talks about the permanent underclass, part of that is mating. And we do a lot of Negro hollering, but when you make changes with self or an environment, you have to shock the environment. But we don't want to do what the necessary thing is to clean up.
Again, this nigga is misquoting motherfucking Dr. Claude. Now, my boy Sebastian Cole don't like Claude Anderson at all. But this motherfucker is absolutely motherfucking just destroying Claude's words. Lies.
The gene pool. To clean up the gene pool, some of these genes can't even walk around. And when I was in my lower state, that went for me too, right?
People, I need you to understand, do you not hear what he's talking about? And it's already been brought up in the room. Rob, you already nailed it. Ladies and gentlemen, he's talking about eugenics. He's talking about eugenics. ladies and gentlemen, breeding out the so-called inferior in order to only leave the superior. This is the same ideology as Hitler. This is the same ideology as Margaret Sanger. This is the same ideology as Robert Byrd. This is the same ideology of David Duke. This is the same ideology. All of this shit. Pay attention. They're using white supremacy talking points.
So this is the thing. Men are about survival, and women are about quality. Since women have the baby, women are going to have to put quality over survival. So that means that if you don't meet a male that above the neck that should have a child, then you go without. If you race first, which is dumb as hell, but if you are a race first person and you care about your race, then don't reproduce unless there's a gentleman that comes in your life that fits into tomorrow. Not,
ladies and gentlemen, he's talking about motherfucking self-genocide. He's telling black folks we need to weed out the population that I feel is weak or inferior in order for us to be better. And not only that, but don't even worry about race. Don't worry about the black man, that black woman, black child. Get with whoever. As a matter of fact, make sure that you don't fucking breed any more inferior people. He's quite literally talking the same talking points as Norman Rockwell, for fucking David Duke, Hitler, and all these other people, Margaret Sanger. You know what I mean? This is eugenics, people. He's telling people we need to commit self-genocide and start killing off bloodlines, whole entire bloodlines. He's about to say it. He thinks whole entire bloodlines of black folks should be wiped out because he feels they're inferior. He's saying that people that are not on his level are inferior, so therefore they should all be wiped out. This is a black man and a black woman talking about black folks.
the past is never going back to the old days, right? And what that means is go without, don't have a child at all. If you really care about your race, don't bring any child in here with the individual that above the neck doesn't fit into virtual reality. Nico, the reason why that's important is because of a thing called CRISPR. And what CRISPR is, it's technology that is able to turn genes off and on. One of the ways that the permanent underclass is going to be extremely permanent is because those that can afford it are going to pre-code their children with certain attributes. So they're going to pre-code their children with intelligence, with different abilities, and they're going to turn off the gene for diseases that run in the family. So if you
more pseudoscience, this is not what fucking CRISPR is fucking doing, okay? CRISPR can change the fucking color of your fucking kid's eye or something. Change the fucking hair color. This is not fucking what CRISPR's. You cannot motherfucking increase or decrease fucking intelligence with fucking CRISPR. That's pseudoscience. It's not true. This nigga is spreading pseudoscience.
Come from a family that has cancer running through the bloodline, they're able to turn that gene off. Now, the Negro in America has to consider that you have to turn a gene off because we keep creating the same gene and think that there's going to be some kind of John Connor or some type of Messiah that is going to deliver the people. But the problem with the American Negro is not on the outside. The problem with the American Negro is the gene is coded for retardation. So if you care about black people.
Okay. He just said a majority of all black people have a genetic code for retardation. Now, I got black folks in here right now. How many retards do I got in this motherfucking room? How many dumb motherfuckers? How many fucking mentally challenged people are in this room? This is listen to this shit. He's calling a majority of black folks retarded. And their retardation comes from their genes. And that we have to wipe those retarded genes out in order to fucking thrive. That's what he just told you. This is supposedly a black man and black woman.
Like you niggas claim, then what are you gonna really do on an executive decision to change what your environment looks like? Either you cannot continue to have kids, or you're going to have to go to some type of a collective reticular activating audit that turns the gene off of millions of niggas to operate upside down.
And just in case y'all don't know what that is, that's called Negro word salad.
Because the problem is on the inside of the people. And these niggas is going to be, they're in denial about the shit. They don't want to admit that shit.
Yeah, I don't want to admit that a large majority of black folks are retarded because they're not. So yeah, kind of not going to admit that shit because it's false. It's not true. It's a tall tale. It's a fib, a lie. That's what it is. That's why. Watch this. It gets so much better.
They're actually committing mass genocide and they're actually wiping each other out.
We already went through this, but again, she's trying to reiterate a point that is literally nonsense.
They're actually doing it for themselves. They're actually wiping each other out. And listen, I know it's a lot of people on here. They frustrated, and that's probably because you fall into that category. So you're
okay. And so I want to let y'all know that any nigga who don't agree with these two about literally fucking genociding your own people because you want to call them retarded and you think that they're retarded, you are clearly in your lower self. And, you know, you're one of those people that should literally be fucking eliminated because, you know, you're fucking retarded. It's in your genetics. You're in your lower self. You see what I'm saying? They got it figured out.
going to be frustrated, and that's okay. And that's okay. But the truth of the matter is what he's saying is that it's necessary for the Black community to ever elevate, because we've been here long enough. And
I'm gonna say this:
we've been out of slavery long enough.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna pass the mic too.
Okay, and I want you to hear that bullshit narrative that she stuck in there right quick. She said, you know, if you're stuck in this state of mind, you know what I mean, we're not, you know, you're one of these people because we are so far past slavery. Basically, she's saying, well, we've been out of slavery for so long, you know, at this point, we're just not even trying. As a black community, we're just not even trying. That's what she's literally saying. That black folks aren't even trying. And they've given up. And so because of that, most of them motherfuckers need to be eliminated. And if you don't like what she's saying, you should be eliminated too, because you're in your lower self. This stuff is so fucking... This is justifying white hate and anybody else's hate against the black community and thinking that it's okay to literally eliminate motherfuckers because they think they're fucking retarded.
Okay, there is a large portion of black men that want to do right.
He did not say that sorry, Ken. He did not say that black people were inferior. What he said,
a lot of niggas
it's like.
Wait, did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that? Let's go there. I want y'all to catch that. 326, 317. So I want y'all to catch that. And listen to what he says again. Okay? Pay attention. Listen, because she interrupts the room, right? Because Sebastian had made a comment. He says, so are you saying that like black folks are inferior? And she's going to answer, no, he's not saying that black folks are inferior. But listen to this shit. Watch. Listen.
He did not say that sorry, Ken. He did not say that black people were inferior.
Listen very closely.
What he said,
a lot of niggas
it's like
he said a lot of niggas are though. He said, listen, wait, hold on. She tried to save his ass, and he said, I don't want your saving. He said, I don't care. I don't want you to save me. Pay attention, listen.
He did not say that sorry, Ken. He did not say that black people were inferior. What he said,
a lot of niggas
it's like
a lot of niggas do though. A lot of niggas do. A lot of niggas say it. No, a lot of niggas are. This nigga, that's his attitude. He thinks that a lot of niggas are inferior. This is what this nigga said. A lot of niggas think are inferior though. He said, I'm not saying all, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are inferior. What? Really? A lot of niggas are inferior? These are white supremacist talking points, people. I don't know if you guys noticed this.
People who have a retardation only producing with other people who have a retardation. The likelihood of your child coming out with that symptom is high. He never said that. So y'all got to bring y'all comprehension.
Yeah, you got to bring up your comprehension. You got to understand that a lot of you niggas is, you know, you guys are inferior Negroes. And so when you have sex with other inferior Negroes, all you do is produce inferior Negroes. And you Negroes need to stop doing that. And you need to fucking get your comprehension game up. Because, you know, we have to eliminate all these inferior Negroes. You know, the people who they say are inferior.
Attention to these lives. Correct.
And here's the thing, too. Someone said you can't nurture out bad genes. The problem is these niggas are reading outdated books. In neuro-linguistic programming,
these niggas is reading outdated books. You mean the same outdated books that you're reading? Like, you know, Powernomics, White Wealth, Black Labor, or Black Labor on White Wealth? Just like the misunderstanding of a Negro or the miseducation of a Negro. Just like, you know what I mean, fucking H.G. Wells, or not H.G. Wells, but W.E.B. Du Bois. You mean those outdated reading utensils that you just fucking used as a form of your argument? You mean those outdated books? Which outdated books are you talking about, sir?
They teach you tactics. You know how we claim trauma? Do you know you could just get rid of the thought completely? So the thing that's traumatizing you, there's hypnosis techniques where you can totally eliminate the thought, but we don't want to eliminate the thought because we need a reason for bad behavior.
Okay, I don't know if y'all caught on to what he just said. He said you can eliminate all trauma in yourself. All you got to do is not want the trauma. You can go get hypnosis if you can't fucking do it on your own, but there's ways of getting rid of the trauma. You can get rid of all the trauma. What are you talking about? This is just an excuse. That's what he said. That's what he said. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to show you guys something. We're going to go into this one next. Okay, there we go. Watch this. Watch this real quick. Just to do this, watch. Just to do this, let me show you. Watch this. Because I've already done this shit before. I've already done this. Everybody listen. This isn't long.
One of the things that's difficult for people, their first response is, oh my God, that happened so long ago. We're talking about people being captured, shipped, sold, beaten, raped, experimented on. And then you have to ask the question, did the trauma continue? Yes. So 300 years of trauma, no help, freed. No help, more trauma. If it's a sustained trauma, then the impact of that is also sustained. When we look at multi-generational trauma, we're looking at people who are maybe victims of natural disasters and their families and their children and generations of folks who have experienced war. And we know that there are residual mental, emotional, traumatic impact. And what I did was I started to look at the African-American experience, starting with slavery, as a real clear, long enduring trauma. I started to see that there were clear connections between that survival behavior and contemporary living in African-American experience. I started to see common behaviors that I took for granted as, well, cultural. There's adaptive behaviors, survival behaviors. Well, what are they? Let's just say 2019, you have a Black mother and a white mother. The sons go to school together. They find themselves at a meeting. The Black mother leans over to the white mother and says, I just wanted to mention to you that I noticed that your son is really doing quite well. And the white mother's response is, oh, thank you. She begins to go on and on about he won the science fair, his uncle's an astronaut. She's just oozing. She realizes the Black mother's son is actually excelling her son. And she says, well, wait a minute. Your son's the one that's really coming along. And the Black mother responds, oh my God, he's a handful, but oh, he just works my nerves. Now, when I'm working with African-American people, it doesn't matter what the audience is. It doesn't matter what class. If I were to ask, is she very proud while she's saying those denigrating things? And everybody laughs and goes, of course, there's a secret. Because everybody Black knows that even though the Black mother is going, oh my God, she's really proud. So now let's roll that scene back 300 years. And let's say this Black mother is working in the fields and a white slave owner comes through and says, wow, that boy is really coming along. What is she gonna say? No, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He can't work because I don't want you to sell him. So I denigrate them to protect them. That is called appropriate adaptation when living in a hostile environment. The little white boy, say Timmy, he feels really comfortable and happy about what his mom just said about him. And Trey looks at his mom and wonders, why can't you be proud of me? Because he doesn't understand the secret yet. And by the time he learns the secret, he will have already been injured by it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. PTSD is a disorder that occurs as a result of a single trauma. You don't even have to be there to actually get a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. You could just hear about something horrific happening to someone you love. So you have people who have experienced it firsthand, people who have witnessed it in their environment, right? People who are continuing to be oppressed. That exacerbates any possibility of healing. So it's not post-traumatic stress disorder, because then it becomes part of what we call your socialization process. So you begin to normalize a way of living and being, everything from what we eat to what we believe it means to be a friend. You know, all of these things are colored by history. And if you don't understand it, you're going to fold in things that you've just assumed are normal. But post-traumatic stress disorder, you know, exaggerated startle response, outbursts of anger, feeling of foreshortened future. There was a point where there were, you know, African-American children in different urban settings that didn't expect to live to be adults because they saw so much death, that they started planning their funerals like at 13, 12, as young as 10. When you start looking at the simple biology, you start looking at the impact of stress on health. And while we look at general stress, you know, we know finances, you have illnesses, all these different things. How about being Black? How does factoring in being Black in America impact your stress level and therefore your body's ability to operate its own immune system? Because we know it compromises the immune system. Once you understand it, then you can deal with it, because you see it's habitual. You socialize. It becomes part of your being. So one of the ways you begin to address that multi-generational trauma is to work with the people it directly impacts, to hear from them. And when you give the people the information, they can use it. I think the first order of business is beginning to have a conversation. And the other is to educate the larger society. You have to stop the assault. So this is not purely a clinical thing. This requires social justice and change. That's where part of the healing is. It's not in a clinical setting or in a pill. It's in fairness and justice and safety and equity. We got to work with some of those clinical things, some of those issues of panic and anxiety. And we also have to deal with the fact that you have a system that is set up to oppress you and to continue to injure you. Both those things have to be dealt with. And they cannot singularly by themselves affect a change. They have to be done collectively.
All right. So I put that up there because this is the woman who's been doing the work longer than that nigga has ever been alive. I don't think y'all hear me. She's been doing the work longer than that Negro has ever been alive. But yet he's going around telling people that you can just forget about the traumas that you've had in your life. And we can go even deeper into epigenetics, because epigenetics shows that the trauma literally changes your DNA. But this Negro had the audacity to say, nah, that trauma means nothing. Just ignore it.
I'm gonna say that, and then I'm gonna say this and pass the mic. The people that I feel sorry for are the Black men that want to move forward, but culturally, any type of forward move is considered white. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true either. Again, this is another one of those misnomers where he tries to say, "Oh, well, you're called a coon or fucking white if you're educated." That's bullshit. That's absolutely bullshit. It's the things you do. Not getting an education, catching knowledge, gaining knowledge. That's not what makes people think that you're acting white. It's when you kowtow to white men in order for you to try to raise your hand up and say, give me my butter biscuits. Meanwhile, you're shitting on all these other niggas, basically saying, go ahead and exterminate them niggas. They not good enough, but don't fuck with me because I'm good enough. I'm one of you. He's signal calling. This right here, okay? This right here, regardless on what anybody say, is real simple. Look at the coolness. Wow. Look at the coolness. Always coming for you. Look at the coolness. Look at the coolness. Always coming for you.
So if a dude is educating himself, he becomes responsible, he moves a certain type of way, successful behavior for a black man is considered white. So you
No, it's not. I don't consider LeBron James acting white. I don't think he's white. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of business professionals are be acting white. I don't believe that shit. That's not true whatsoever. Do you have to put on white face sometimes? Yeah. But we understand that. So again, this is a misnomer that you're trying to push. This is a narrative you're trying to push in order to make your claim be true. But again, as I've been disproving it since we started this thing, the fact of the matter is this motherfucker has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
you don't want to be isolated from your peer group. So that's the thing. There's a cultural pressure by the Negro population for niggas to act up. Because every black man not like that. But when you were born in that environment, it's either conform to this shit or get fucked up.
No, they
and that's what happens.
And that's false. And you know, I'm gonna give you my personal experience. Okay, I'm gonna give my personal experience, and I know it's only anecdotal, but I know plenty of other Negroes that know this shit. How many people lived in the hood, right? And there was that one nigga that none of the gangs fucked with. You know, the Crip niggas didn't fuck with him, the Blood niggas didn't fuck with him. They actually kind of was like, nah, nigga, you not with you got talent, nigga. You gonna go to the NBA or you're gonna go to college. No, this ain't your life. I got so many homies that's done that in my life. Niggas from the hood. When niggas in the hood see potential in motherfuckers, they push that potential. Well, that was back when we had OGs, but today I guess, you know, they don't have no OGs today. So, but this narrative is not true. There's plenty of times where there's been black folks, you know, in the hood where everybody knew, don't mess with him. He going to the NBA. He good. Leave him alone. He going to the NBA. Leave him alone. They might allow him to kick it every once in a while, but they always kicked them out of the clique when they was going to do something. They told them to go home because you got to go to school. They always, you know what I mean? This is a bullshit narrative. Black folks do be looking out for black folks, and this just is a bullshit narrative.
Nature versus nurture.
And that's the thing. Trust me, I know it's a lot of niggas trying to get free. They can't. And this goes back to a lot of what Patrick Moynihan was talking about in the Moynihan report. about there was this bottom class of Negroes that was going to swallow up the black middle class.
And let me point out, Moynihan is a fucking idiot racist, so fuck him too. I just want to point it out. That's that Jordan Peterson type motherfucker who literally tries to push the science of higher IQ white people, lower IQ black people. Black people are inherently stupid, inherently retarded. Moynihan, that's what he pushes. That's the message he pushes. He pushes scientific racism. And that is an actual thing. You better go look it up.
And that's what the fuck happened. It's this bottom
Absolutely.
class, the retardation, the what W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about, those that weren't picked to survive by natural selection, but survived legally because they were slave product. But a lot of these Negro bloodlines should have been off the earth. And what's happening is those.
I hope you heard that. He said a bunch of these Negro fucking bloodlines should have never been on the earth. I hope what I was saying earlier is starting to fucking come to light. I hope that you are fucking starting to see what I'm talking about. This is the outcome of the psychology or the psychopathy or the psychopathy of white folks leads to. Benign neglect, absolutely. That's what this is. This is the outcome from a psychopathy of hate and self-hate. And, you know, this is very, 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 very destructive. And this is what white psychopath and psychopathy turns other groups into. They turn them into their own worst enemies. And I want y'all to see this because he really thinks that he is fighting the good fight. He thinks that genociding what he would consider retarded Negroes, he would literally end their bloodline. Now, the question I have to ask is, if we started destroying what he or white supremacy considered an imbecile or slow or retarded, and we just started wiping their bloodlines off of the fucking map, starting way back when. How many black folks would be here in this country today? How many black folks do you think would be in this country today? How many? Do you think it would be 46 million black folks? Because it wouldn't be. He's talking about wiping out whole generations of people. He is justifying the genocide of his own people. Not only justifying it, but literally trying to push the idea of genocide on his own fucking people. Hey, man, this shit is disturbing.
Bloodlines are swallowing up the black people that are progressive and want to move forward. And anybody that comes around and preaches to the black pathology, they get elevated. right? So
Right.
any Negro, pay attention to the Negro
Right.
messiahs right now. The Negro messiahs are any male that comes and massages black pathology. That doesn't speak against it. If he speaks against black pathology, he's a coon, he's an agent, he's a house nigga. But if he elevates black pathology, negative behavior, he becomes the real nigga and the.
So we just got our answer. What is Negro pathology? According to him, Negro pathology is negative behavior. So he's saying that all black folks outside of people that he deems worthy have a criminal pathology that are detrimental to society, that are negative. The Negro pathology, according to him, is nothing but negative. It is negative ideals. Basically, he's attributing negativity to black folks. Negative outcomes, negative ideals, negative things. All black folks. Everything bad, black folks. Everything good, white folks and everybody else. Pay attention.
Speaker of Negroes. But I'm going to say, y'all continue to try to get free, not just from the cracker plantation, get free from these niggas plantation too.
Did you hear him? He said, get free. Not only from these cracker plantations, he literally just was on here for 30 fucking minutes, literally begging the cracker to see him. Waving his arms up and down. Hey, I'm over here, Mr. Cracker. Mr. Massa, I'm over here. Mr. Massa, come get me. I'm a good one. I'm a good Negro. Massa, I'm at my higher self. Massa, I believe you. Massa, you is so right. Most of these Negroes is imbecile retards and genetic fucking malfunctions and genetic fucking, anomalies that are wrong. I'm sorry, Massa. Let's eliminate them all.
Amen.
And then the fucking sister comes through with her amen.
Nico, I love you, man. Hey,
Yeah,
make sure you get at me, man. I just wanted to come through.
Thank you. Yeah, call me later.
All right, for sure. Holla at me.
Okay.
Peace.
Bye, babe. Ooh wee, y'all. Ooh wee. Look, after he spoke, all the other men logged off. I don't have any more guests. So is y'all minds completely blown? This my dude. This is my dude. This is when I keep telling y'all think I just be flexing. When I tell you that the black men in my community, now Kim by far, he's on a different level. He's very well read. He's very well versed. He's able to communicate with what I call y'all street to Wall Street. He on a whole different level and mindset than the average black male, as you can see. Look at the difference between the.
Look at her big up in this nigga after he just promoted genocide of the black people. My question to y'all, do you think that she realizes that she is really backing up the genocide of black folks and calling black folks retarded and stupid and imbeciles? You think she realizes this shit? Now, that's pretty much the end of this shit. But I want y'all to pay attention to this shit because like this shit is like super detrimental to black folks. When we have people coming on, black folks, and this is like half of the reason why black folks can't ever get motherfucking reparations, we can't ever get no justice, we can't get nothing. You know why? Because we as a community, for some odd reason, we love to shoot ourselves in the foot. And we love to shoot ourselves in the foot by letting Negroes like this speak out there for us. This woman is literally speaking to a whole bunch of black folks, pushing a narrative of we better than y'all, and y'all dumb motherfuckers need to be genetically erased off the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, this shit is scary, man. And this is the outcome of the psychopath. You want to know what I call this? This is this is Stockholm syndrome. This is Negro Stockholm syndrome. That's what this is. This is Negro Stockholm syndrome. How could you ever push a narrative that says people that I deem to be less than all need to be fucking just eliminated off the planet? Your bloodline shouldn't even last. How many black entertainers or how many fucking black fucking leaders or fucking people that we fucking look up to and we throughout the past, how many of those black folks would have never have been here had people literally had his same mindset? And instead of just having the mindset, actually did it. Do you think you would be here? You think Malcolm X would have ever been born? Martin Luther King? James Baldwin? Huh? Fred Hampton? Huey P. Newton? Huh? Would any of these motherfuckers ever been born? W.E.B. Du Bois? Frederick Douglass? How many of these people would have never been born? And that's what they're pushing for. This is why the system of white supremacy is so serious. Because of this. That's why it's serious. That's why it's a major thing. Because when people start to believe their own fuck shit, what happens is they turn into our community's worst enemy. Now I got a question. I don't know how many people are still in here, but actually I'm not going to do it this week. I'm not going to do it. But my next stream, we're going to do a psychopathy spectrum test. And what we're going to do is we're all going to fucking vote in the room. And the majority of the votes, that's going to be the answer. And we're going to try to answer these questions as white people, as a group. Not as individuals, as a group. So we're going to combine all the white people throughout time. And we're going to do that by looking at their history. And we're going to answer the questions based upon what they've done in the past. Okay? Now, if you guys want to do this shit now, we can. Okay? You just have to tell me. Because it's right there. It's right there. That's what that is. I don't know why that shit's flashing and shit. I don't know why it's doing all that. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this right. Boop, 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 boop. All right. All right, so it's trying not to show up for some odd reason. Let's see if I can get that shit to stop. Let's see. Let's see. Oh man, look at fucking Haps, man. Haps is just fucking up right now, bro. Haps is really fucking losing it right now. So how many people want to do this now or next time? You let me know and we'll do this shit. I have no problem with it. Oh no, we're gonna have to do it next time because it's really fucking up. You see all that shit flashing in and out and shit. Yeah, right now it's ugly on StreamYard, bro. It really is. It really the fuck is. Like it's just flipping out. So yeah, next time I'm gonna have to do it next time. I'll save this and we'll do it next time. So we'll stop that. I don't want you guys to get a fucking have a seizure and shit. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to pay attention to yeah, Haps is going crazy, it seemed like. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do that next time. But I want y'all to pay attention to the beginnings and how that manifests itself. Now, we can go through the history next time, and I can go through the history and explain to you and show you how we got to this point. I think most people understand how we got to this point, but the people that don't, if y'all want me to, I'll do that shit. But this is a very troubling thing. When you have white folks using red pill ideology, right-wing ideology, white supremacist ideology, eugenics ideology, in order to back up a claim that you have when it comes down to, eliminating bloodlines. And when that's coming from a supposed black man, you have to question anybody who is around in that circle. You have to. Because we know that a system of white supremacy is real. This isn't a made-up thing. We understand racism. We understand the evolution of racism. We understand how that still detrimentally affects us today. Well, at least anybody that's been fucking with me for a while, we know. Because I'm giving you guys all the information. I can show you fucking how it detrimentally affects us from going to school. I can show you how it detrimentally affects us from getting jobs or getting jobs that we can survive on, or even being able to fucking advance in careers. I showed you what the fuck is done to our economic foundation and our economics as a whole. I've showed you what it does to us in society on a social level. I've showed you what it does on a legal level. I've showed you how this affects us across the board and how it still affects us today, because racism did not go anywhere. It evolved. And the thing that people are missing is the evolution of the racism. And I need people to see that, especially black folks. Stop fucking being fooled by fucking dumb shit. This is the reason why I didn't fucking do a Juneteenth fucking thing. But when we did talk about Juneteenth, what did I say? This shit is nothing but a motherfucking, it's a game. It's nothing more than fucking white folks trying to placate black folks while giving justice to all other people. Couple old Asian folks get knocked down to the ground, punched in their face. One older Asian dude unfortunately lost his life. And I'm not trying to justify any of this stuff. I'm just saying, okay? Just a few incidences that happened to black folks, right? A large majority, close to 72% of all hate crimes committed against Asian folks was done by white folks. All you saw that was promoted that was anti-Asian was black folks. The bill was passed, the anti-Asian hate bill was passed, predicated on the idea that it was black folks that were being racist towards fucking Asian American people, primarily. And since then, black folks have been the most detrimentally affected by the anti-Asian hate bill. Now make that shit make sense. 72% of all hate crimes are committed by white folks. That's this year's number. And don't let me go into the fucking hate crime situation again, because y'all know I'll fucking literally destroy that shit. So the fact of the matter is, white folks passed the bill making Asian folks, right? Making Asian folks a protected class. Not only making Asian folks a protected class, but charging and using these laws to put more black folks in jail and prison and charge them with hate crimes so they end up doing longer period times in jail. But yet we got a white dude who killed 8 Asian folks in an Asian fucking place. He still ain't been charged with a hate crime. You got another Mexican dude, a white passing Mexican Latino, who killed a whole bunch of Asians because he said they had the China flu. Clearly, yeah, I killed them because they're Asian and they had the China flu. still ain't been charged with a hate crime. Yet you got dudes right now in San Francisco that got in a fight with an Asian person and motherfucking they're being charged with hate crimes. You got dudes in New York that are being charged with hate crimes just for robbing people. And I'm not trying to justify robbing. What I'm saying is how the fuck you get a hate crime from robbing somebody? The only people that are being detrimentally affected by this anti-Asian hate bill is black folks. Again, that should show you exactly what the fuck I mean. So at the end of the day, I want y'all to understand, man, you got to see the whole history for what it was and how we got to the situation we got and how the systems in place still affect us and our movements and what we do today. And why we're in a position that we're in. Everybody always talks about, black folks, we look down. He just said black folks look down on education and knowledge, right? Black folks have been asking for extra funding from the federal government for education reasons for over fucking 40 fucking years. And let me point out something, because I'm sure if you actually went and did the math in your state, you would actually find this to be true also. When each state needs money, the money that they grab to supplement fucking the money that they need is always the education money, the federal education money. When they take money, the federal education money, and they make the federal education, the amount that they give all the schools and shit, it makes it where people in the worst positions end up getting less because the money that was taken away that they needed was taken away from low income students. All the money was given to these upper crust schools, these schools that are being paid very well by property tax and fucking and other taxes. But they also get extra money because they get extra money in bonuses because, they give out like extra grants for the schools that are doing the best. Right? And I promise you, the best school is not going to be the school in the middle of the fucking hood. So black folks give a fuck about education. Nobody wants to give us the education. So we're forced to learn to educate and forced to learn to educate ourselves. We're forced to deal with teachers who don't really give a fuck, do not inspire, do not try to keep, and already have a misguided ideal about our children already. You don't believe me? Go look at the fucking the rates of suspension and expulsions of kindergarten, first and second, third grade kids. You think I'm playing? Go look at them. Go look at the number and guess who's at the top of the list. Take a wild guess. Who's at the top of the list of the number one group that gets suspended and fucking expelled from their schools? Guess. This goes all the way down to pre-K and kindergarten too. Do not get this shit twisted. It's black folks. Black boys get kicked out of school for no reason. There was just a case not too long ago. A little black boy came to school and his hair was in dreads. They told him he was not able to go to that school because his hair was dreads. They told him it was religious beliefs. They said, we don't care. That's against the law. But no law sanctioned that school for doing so. Another case I'm pretty sure you heard. Kids were outside playing on the playground. They're all playing dodgeball. Little black kid throws a dodgeball at a fucking kid's head or throws the ball at a kid, it hits him in the head. That little boy goes to jail and is arrested for assault. For playing dodgeball. How many white kids you know have ever been arrested for assault for playing dodgeball? Little girls go to school and they're not able to get into school. You know why? Because they got braids in their hair, or fucking they got dreads, or fucking their hair is too curly or too afro-y. It's not straight. It's unkempt. Not too long ago, I think it was just last year or 2 years ago, they literally made a rule that you cannot, some school made a rule that you cannot come pick up your kids in a bonnet. Wait a minute. You cannot pick up your kids from their school with the bonnet. And they literally kicked out kids that their parents did come and pick them out with a bonnet. What other kids have to deal with these type of things? I don't know. Because I've never heard of the little Asian kid fucking getting kicked out of school because of his hair, or fucking what he ate, or how he looked, or his culture. I've never seen a little Asian or Mexican kid or white kid get fucking arrested for assault for playing, fucking playing dodgeball or tag. I've never seen fucking anybody fucking not be able to go to school because they said that they looked too thuggish or they didn't look like they didn't belong there. But yet these people keep on pushing narratives, acting as if somehow all of this means nothing. They did a study not too long ago that they had white people and actually a whole group of people, a whole bunch of people. They asked the age of little black girls and little black boys compared to the ages of little white girls and little white boys. Both of the kids were right around the same age. I believe they were something like 6 or 7, 8 years old. And when they got all the numbers together, on average, they said that the white kid, average, he looked like he was about 9, 10, or 11 years old. This little boy that was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, they said that he looked it like he was 18, 17, 18, 19 years old. Now, why does that matter? Well, when a child is perceived as an adult, he gets treated as an adult, not as a child. Which means he's going to get arrested faster, he's going to get in trouble faster, more liable to get shot. And when it comes to schools, preschool, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, all the way up to 5th grade, the black child is usually, if not always, looked at as the primary aggressor. And they're usually looked upon as if they're supposed to know better, but the other kid is not, because the other kid's a kid and he is not, because he is perceived as grown. This is why it's not hard for fucking police officers to shoot kids within 2 seconds of jumping out their fucking cars. This is why these people can shoot kids that go buy a fucking Arizona and a motherfucking goddamn Skittles. That's why fucking police can fucking go off and shoot kids who went and bought a fucking blunt so they can smoke a fucking blunt. This is why when a black man who is the head of fucking African-American histories at Harvard or Howard, I can't remember, is locked out of his house, a police officer is sent to fucking arrest him for trespassing on his own property. That's why when a black woman is stuck outside of her room or outside of her own property, she's shot and killed because she's looked at automatically as an intruder. Oh, starting to realize that perception really matters, huh? Starting to realize how fucking the way you see somebody can really detrimentally affect their life. So at the end of the day, I want y'all to understand that all of these small nuances matter. And these kind of arguments that you're hearing from other black folks, these red pill motherfuckers, right wing, and even left wing motherfuckers to a degree, right? Their bullshit arguments don't hold water because they don't get, or they don't have nuance unless it benefits their point. And this is fucking so important. And it's really real shit. So with that being said, I don't know who else is all up in here yet. If for anybody that's watching still, I appreciate you guys for staying in. I appreciate you guys for paying attention. We're going to get into this a little bit deeper, but I'm going to stop for right now. I think it's been enough time. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to set up another show to bring in my guy Rob, try to bring up maybe Smoke or Sunday Smoke, Sunday Night Smoke, I should say. And maybe we'll have a panel and talk about it. Actually, as a matter of fact, I am going to try my damnedest to try to get a special guest to come up and have this conversation. He's a friend of mine. He's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. And I'm really going to try to get him on here. I don't know how successful I'm going to be because he's kind of a busy dude, but I'm going to try to get Sebastian Cole to come up and talk about these things with us. And if you don't know who Sebastian Cole is, go check out Sebastian Cole music. Go check him out on YouTube. Very, very, very talented R&B singer. I believe he's a Grammy Award winner. Really cool dude. Really, really smart. I've been knowing this guy for a long time. Anybody that's been rocking with me for a long time knows exactly who I'm talking about. He's been on my shows before. We've had great conversations. So I'm going to try to get him to come up too. So maybe I can get Sunday Night Smoke, Rob, Sebastian, and I don't know, maybe I can get another brother or, maybe some sisters too up and have a panel discussion about, the evolution of racism, the psychology, psychopathy, and the and the and the psychopath mind of white folks, the implications, again, the outcomes, and also how we are detrimentally affected. And we have to make sure that we recognize that and stand on our square, because we're under attack. People who are just trying to get equality and equity, justice, we're being attacked. And we're being attacked by our own people. We're being attacked by the coon class, and we're being attacked by the anchor baby class, and that's not work. It's not working right now, and we got to stop that shit. All right. So with that being said, I think I am just about fucking done. Special shout out to Sunday Night Smoke. Sunday Night Smoke is actually going to have me on his show. Yeah, I'm gonna be on there. Thank you very much, Indoor Smoker. Thank you very much, Sunday Night. Everybody, make sure you follow Sunday Night Smoke podcast. I'm gonna be live on his show on Sunday, I believe it is, right? Sunday night. So we're gonna fucking be doing a show on Sunday night. He invited me on the show, so I'm gonna show up. I think it's gonna be a really good show, and depending on what road we decide to go down, I think regardless on anything, it's gonna be a really good show. Make sure you tune into that. And I just want y'all to know, calling people out and standing up and making sure that you get justice, that you get equality and equity, and you are looked at as a man and not a boy, not a criminal, not a stereotype, or not anything the fuck else, but see you as who the fuck you are. Until we can get that, kind of respect, we still got a fight to go. So stay real, stay black, stay doing your fucking thing. Make sure you are unapologetically black at all times, because if you are not unapologetically black, then you are putting on your white face. When you put on your white face, you are putting other black folks in danger. Do not ever get that shit confused, because your majority of white folks are always going to look at, this is the good black guy and this is the bad black guy. You need to show them that all black folks, we are all the same. You need to be unapologetically black at all times. I'm not telling you to be racist. I'm telling you to be proud of who you are. Stop covering up your face. Stop covering up who you are, how you talk, how you live, how you walk around, why? See, everybody expects you to acquiesce to white society and be white or as close to white as possible, because that's what is considered acceptable. No, what acceptable is this. I should be who I am all the time. I shouldn't have to put on a fake face at all. If I'm polite, courteous, do my job, and I'm good at my job, why the fuck is you worried about how the fuck, I talk? If I talk with a slang, or if I talk with this, or if I walk like that, or it doesn't matter. Always be unapologetically black. Force anyone who doesn't like it, force them to accept it. They must accept who you are. Period. Do not settle for anything less. With that being said, thank you everybody for coming in. I really, really, really appreciate it. I appreciate your time, your energy, and everything else. Again, my Cash App is right below me. $ reality check VR2. Venmo is at Dabin Stuff LLC. That's DABNSTUFF LLC. You You can find me on all social media networks. Just go to my profile. You can follow me on anything, and make sure you say the true, authentic, true you. All right? With that being said, I'm out this motherfucker. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your night.